All right. Hello, knockouts. Hello, knockouts. Tonya TKO here. Lord of mercy, what is going on in these streets? Listen, last night's show was it was a disaster. Oh my goodness, last night's show was a disaster. Fue un disastro. I don't know what happened last night, but I'll say this, right? I'll say this. Last night, things just descended into madness. It just descended into madness. It descended into madness. It got to the point that someone called in, someone called in, said that they were having a period through the place where their penis used to be after their mother had their penis chopped off at 6 years old. They had no uterus but had blood coming out. And see, this is the thing. This is the thing. The person is not educated enough, or was not educated enough about menstruation to know that menstruation is not blood. Oh gosh. And then it descended into me hollering at a corner. I was hollering at a caller, this gay man who called in and felt that in all his male glory that he was going to educate me on what a woman was, and I snapped. I snapped. Last night's show was madness. Oh gosh, it was madness. If you get the opportunity, make sure that you go and you watch that show. If you have, listen, we're in a pandemic. If you got 3 hours to spare, because it's a long show. I wanted to get off after 2 hours, but these callers kept reeling me in. They kept reeling me in, and it was just one thing after another. It was. I don't want to say it was chaos. It was a brouhaha. It was a boondoggle last night. Oh my goodness. I, I, yeah, you, oh goodness. You, I woke up this morning like just huddled in my comforter like the last night really happened. Oh my goodness. It was a mess. It was a mess. Listen, if you're from the mailing list, put up the number 5. If you're from the mailing list, put up the number 5. Now this morning, people who didn't bring their asses over to the show are now coming out and they're calling me transphobic. T said it was long, but she learned so much. What did you learn, T? So Nikki, Dupree, Keita, Sylvester, Thankful, Crystal, all of these people from the mailing list. Did you just get my message? Jenna, Belinda, I am, Serene, all of these people on the mailing list. Did you get my message? So you all got my message just now. Okay, because I decided to go live on a whim because I'm still shooketh. I'm shooketh from last night. So Yasmin got the Google notification. All right. So YouTube doesn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Google notification. YouTube. All right. Okay. Listen. The phone lines are open because we're gonna debrief. There's some people who said they learned some stuff from last night. I want to know what you learned because I just last night was a boondoggle. I love these stupid words that describe just a quagmire and waste of time, like boondoggle and brouhaha. I love those words because they don't sound like real words, do they? But the stupidness of the sounding of the word is actually a perfect description for what is going on. It was a boondoggle. It was a boondoggle last night. It was pure foolishness. Pure foolishness. Okay, it was just pure, it was pure, unadulterated, grade A foolishness. I mean, it was something. It was something. It was something. I'm telling you right now. Oh my goodness. It was something. It was something. All right. So 323-488-3149 is the phone number, right? So you could call in and we can debrief what happened last night. You know what was the crazy part? What was the crazy part? Piper is asking what happened. I was working. Piper, listen, you don't want to know. It was just pure foolishness. People showed their ass. I showed mine. I never got to the point where I started hollering at somebody. I was just irritated, because it got to the point where it was just too much. And the person already knew when I picked up the phone that I was already irritated. And they decided to push the issue. They decided to push the issue. They decided to push it. All right, you're on the air live.
Hi, Tanya. This is Yvette from Huffington.
Hey, give me 1 second, Yvette. The Bluetooth is not connecting. Give me a second. Give me just 1 second. You're the first caller. So let me get this connected. It says it's connected. Let me disconnect and reconnect.
Okay.
All right, now it's connected. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, but it's not transferring over for some reason. Wow. You know what? Let me remove the device and then start again with the Bluetooth. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. After last night, I'm not surprised that the machinery is no longer working, because after that foolishness last night. All right. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I did listen in last night, and I was trying to call in so bad. It was, I would say, sheer craziness. You had a little bit of everything coming last night, from the hotel to the supposed intersex person that had a period. I was like, okay, this is crazy. It was bonkers. It was sheer nuts. It was sheer craziness. And I felt that because I said, it almost seems as if a lot of the people were just simply calling it troll. I said, these people cannot be serious. Please tell me they are serious.
You know what? I think
And
that.
then, wait a minute.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and what about the doctor, the transsexual doctor who at first that went into religion? I was like, what in the world?
You know what? Your phone is so muffled. But okay, so you all are talking about the transgender doctor who came in who identifies as male. So this transgender doctor who calls in or who claims they're doctor, there's one person claimed they had a period with no uterus. So I'm taking people with a grain of salt. So this transgender doctor got, I don't know how many of you in the comments saw that this person had to get put in time out, because then they started saying F you, you B, and all this other stuff. And I'm like,
Last night was a
men don't act like that. Men don't act like that. They don't act like that. They don't behave that way. Well, listen, those of you out there who know men, do men go in and when I say F U U B, it was that B F dash 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 B dash 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 talking about me. And men just don't behave that way. They don't behave that way online. You in the comments talk about FUUB. Let me listen. If you all know men, you all know men. If you feel men behave that way, put up a 1. If you know men don't behave that way, put up a 2. Put up a 2. If men behave that way. So go ahead, my dear.
It was just crazy, and they were. I feel that a lot of people called in to purposely throw a wrench into the subject that was being talked about, and that was simply trans women and women spaces, their entitlement, their feeling of entitlement to our spaces, and why we should have separate spaces.
Okay.
And you spoke about it last night, how even when people called in the sense of entitlement, the hostility, and everything, it really reeks of misogyny. And it goes to show the sheer disrespect. That is historical, that women have had to face. And it
I
starts
can't
when
hear
they're
you.
small
Your
child.
phone is breaking up so badly. I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can
That's
you hear me
better.
now?
Yeah, that's better. Whatever it is that you did. Are you laying down on a pillow? What's going on with you, Yvette?
No, I'm up. It's weird because typically I have my earphones in, but because I'm at work, I'm at my desk, I don't have it, so I'm speaking straight through the receiver.
You
So
at
maybe I
work?
need to get my
Or you
headset.
at work on the line? Listen, we
No,
might have to
well,
take up a
actually, I'm working from
collection.
home.
We
I'm
might
working
have to
from
take up
home,
a
so
collection for
that is.
Yvette in a little while. Oh, okay, you at home. Okay, because I'm about to
Yes, I'm
say.
working from home. Definitely, I'm working from home. So, I was saying that even in the conversation where people were disregarding women's experiences, and
Yeah.
it's just the overall misogyny that we've
Yeah.
had to deal with throughout history. It
Yeah.
shows a lack of respect for women.
Yeah.
And the definition of women's spaces, and they're like, what is a women's space? Simple things such as gynecological care. We have differences in anatomy. Our needs are different.
Yeah.
Like we talk about, we are socialized differently.
Yeah.
It's so many. So when we say women's spaces, we are talking about ourselves. You are trying to control us. You're simply trying to control us.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just could not believe last night. I said, if they wanted an honest conversation, come in and talk with us, educate us. Most of us aren't hostile. Just talk to us. Make sense. I said they really didn't help their case at all last night. That was just, it was crazy.
No, but you know what? And then the crazy part about it is that I gave out the opportunity for people to get their arguments together and call in. But I really didn't see the representation last night of trans people really coming out, willing to be a part of the conversation. There was, one or two, and then one of the people was playing on the phone. So it's like you never really know who a person is and all of that. So yeah, you know what? Thank you so much for calling in. We're gonna take the next caller because it's been over 6 minutes now.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so the phone lines are open. The phone number is 323. All right, you're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Shadi. I gotta get that through. I want to talk about last night. Oh my God. Listen, I just want to say this. I am someone of the LGBTQIA community, and hell no. Trans women are not women. I'm sorry. You could never be my mother. I'm sorry. My mother is a woman. My mother gave birth to me. I just saw this, like, some of the things I've heard last night. Oh my God. Whew, it's crazy. It really is crazy. A woman, the things that makes a person a woman, like, giving birth and, going through menstrual cycles every month. These are the things that makes a woman. And the other things that makes a man, those are things that makes a man a man. Like, it's just crazy. I don't understand why people say that trans women are women. Like, okay, let me just give you a description of myself, okay? You listening? Let me give you a description of myself. I am someone that I'm very feminine, and, I get my nails done, my hair done, I wear makeup, I do everything that a woman does. But I cannot sit in a circle with women and thinking that I go through the same struggle with them. I cannot relate to, you getting your period every month, or, you giving birth, or, just things of that sort.
Are you
That's what makes a
transgender?
woman.
Are you transgender?
You say I don't even want to label myself. I'm me. You know, I still have a penis. You know, when I go home, listen, I go to work every day. I wear my makeup, my hair done. I wear my clothes. I wear my Louis Vuitton bag, my Gucci bag. But when I go home and I take my clothes off and I take a shower, I'm a man. Okay? I like it when all my, like, I have girlfriends and everything. They call me sis. They call me she and everything. But when it all boils down to it, I know I'm not the same as a woman. Like it's
Okay.
I'm not you. I can never be you. I can
Right.
never be
So
you.
see, so
It doesn't
so
matter how much.
right. So let's explore that a little bit, right? So
Okay,
you don't feel as if you're transgender. So you're in a different category. Being feminine and feeling that you're transgender are two different things. So
but
like a person like RuPaul. RuPaul will go in drag and all this other stuff, but is RuPaul transgender?
but
Does RuPaul have gender dysmorphia? Does RuPaul, you know what I mean? So you don't have gender dysmorphia. So the issue is people who have gender dysmorphia who feel that they were born and their body was like a birth defect, like nature went wrong. They feel that they were born in the wrong body, so therefore they go about the process of changing the physical, and then they feel, okay, well, since I feel that I was born since I feel like I am a woman on the inside, I am a
right.
woman. So there's a difference between the way you feel, because you don't feel as if you were born in the wrong body. You have your penis, you
Let
enjoy
me
using it.
let
I can
let me
imagine.
right. And no, I want let me just explain this to you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. It was a point in time where I have gone to the doctor and I wanted to take hormones and I wanted to get butt injections and everything. But as time went on and I really started to think, that's still not going to make me one day happy and say, you know what, I am a woman. I could
Okay.
do all
Why
of those
not?
things
Why
and I
not?
still wouldn't. That wouldn't change anything because um I have to get altered and get work done so my body can feel like a woman. It's not going to feel the same. It's not going to feel the same. So I cannot sit in the same circle with, you know, biological women. Like
Okay,
I
so
just can't do it.
you're saying at one
Um,
point you felt that you were transgender. At one point you felt that you wanted to get
I wanted
estrogen and all
to
that other
go the
stuff.
extra mile, you know, take the hormones and now I never thought about getting a sex change. Never thought about that. I didn't want to go that far. Like that's really risky. I just don't want to do that, you know.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. So what?
Do
So
you understand what I'm saying?
yeah. So what? So you know what? When people, and I like to help explore ideas with people so that we can understand, so that you could flesh out your ideas, etc. So what message would you give to people who are transgender who
I just want to say this: a natural born woman don't have to transition. A natural born woman is a woman. You know what I mean? My mother is who she is. You know,
okay.
and she doesn't have to transition to get her sex changed or anything. You can feel how you feel, but the fact of the matter is, you were not born a woman. If you are born a woman, you are a woman. I can't get pregnant. I can't have. These are the things that make a woman a woman. Like it's more than just feeling feminine or in that kind of way to say, you know what, I'm a woman. It's more than just having feminine traits or, you know, feeling girly or wanting to express, you know, or embrace your femininity. That's not the only thing that makes a woman a woman because you
So
have
then, so then,
lesbians, you
so then,
have
right. So then, what would you say to transgender people who claim that they are the sex that they identify as? What would you
I,
say?
sometimes I feel that a lot of transgenders they just want to fit in and they want to be in the spotlight, try to take over natural biological women. Sometimes maybe it has something to do with not self love because there's a lot of transgender women that actually transition, but then they regret it and then they want to detransition. That's another thing. So it's a lot that takes effect to transgenders and you know it's
Okay.
I can't okay.
All
Let
right.
me put it this way.
Well, you
When
know
I see
what?
a transgender
I
person,
would love to talk to you forever, but I'm trying to keep the calls 5 minutes, and we've gone 7 minutes.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm watching it live. I'm watching it live right now.
All
I'm
right.
so
Well, thank
sorry,
you
but
so much for
I
calling
just wanted
in.
to say that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so the phone lines are open. I want everybody to be able to get their voice in, and in order to do that, we've got to keep the calls short. So make sure that you have your point succinct and ready to go. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hi, Tanya. My name is Josh, and as a gay black man, I'm just as curious as you are. But earlier today, I had just came across a video talking about intersex, like people who are naturally born with, either both genitalia or, male babies who produce estrogen or female babies who produce testosterone. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. I
Mm-hmm.
have a stutter problem.
That's okay.
But I just wanted to know, like, what's your take on that? Because I don't know how to think of it.
From what it is that I've heard, and I haven't done much research on it because you have to remember that's not my passion, it's not my field. I just happen to be a biological woman who entered into the conversation because there was a debate going on. And so we don't know that much about intersex. From what it is that I hear, intersex have XY chromosomes, and from what it is that I hear, they they don't have both working sex organs. So either you have a uterus and a non-working penis, but you don't have the sex cells of both. Like you can't get yourself pregnant. Like you can't put your penis into your vagina and then get yourself pregnant. So either it's one or the other. You don't have both. So that's what I know, and I'm still ignorant on that. And perhaps sometime in the future, there could be a conversation that's opened up about intersex because I don't know that much about it, and I'm just admitting that out loud.
Okay, now back to the transgender conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel like, because I'm like I said, I'm just as curious. I don't really know much about it, but like, do you ever feel like maybe gender is a spectrum?
Did you see last night's show or any of the other shows that we've done about the whole trans thing?
Yes, I did. I didn't watch like all of it, but I did like catch it like last minute, and I did hear some of the callers and the conversation that you had with
Okay, so
them.
because we spoke about that, there definitely is a spectrum between masculinity and femininity that each person has. However, there's male, there's female, there's intersex, and there's asexual. Even though for humans, asexual just means not interested in sex, but in lesser species there are asexual beings that just reproduce with themselves. They just split and become two. But yeah, I feel that there is a spectrum. However, I also feel that there are certain categories that people fit in, and I think that it's important for people to acknowledge their journey by honoring the category that they fit in. And I definitely think it's important for people to be able to create the labels that exist on the spectrum so that people can say, well, I am this. And there has to be a scientific method where there are people who can meet a certain criteria and it can be tested and they can fall into that criteria, because if there's no test, then there's no scientific method and it can't be replicated, then it's not true. If you cannot replicate it, then it's not true.
Okay, okay, okay. I have one last question before I have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so a long time ago, I don't know how long ago, it was probably like 1 or 2 months ago, there was a video on this. I saw the video on YouTube on this athlete. I don't know which country she was from,
Yeah,
but it
the
was on
black
this
girl who
female
had
athlete, and she was.
undescended testicles.
You said what? She had testicles?
She had undescended testicles.
Oh no, she didn't have any like testicles or nothing, but she did produce high levels of testosterone,
I think
and
we're
they
talking
had
talking
banned
about the
her.
black girl,
It's a
right, who
it's an
was running
old story. They
track.
had banned her from the the games and the sports because they said that she wasn't really a woman. But when they did like when the doctors did research and they checked her ovaries and everything, she's really a biological woman, but she produces high levels of testosterone. So my question is, how would you feel about, a woman who like is very muscular, very man-like, and she says she's a woman, but she wants to do like woman things, but like I said, like she looks very manly, she's built very manly, she's
Right.
almost as
So,
strong as a man.
right. I looked into that story years ago, and I believe she had undescended testicles, and that's why she was producing a high amount of testosterone. So she had female genitalia. She didn't know that she had undescended testicles that were inside of her. So, can you all confirm or deny? Because her name was Casta Semenya, and she was from South Africa. She looked very masculine. She produced a high amount of testosterone, and when people looked at her genitalia, they saw, female genitalia on the outside. However, she had undescended testicles. So that was what I remembered from the story. So listen, testosterone matters, muscle fibers matter. The skeleton of a male versus female skeleton are different. The muscle fiber is different, and so of course, no, no. I'm not. We've already seen a transgender person enter into an MMA fight with a woman and crack her cranium. She had to be carted out on a damn stretcher. So no, definitely. And this is why I say there needs to be new categories. If we need to have four competing realms, then let's have four competing realms so that transgender people can compete against one another, and whatever the case may be. So thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much for having me.
All
Bye.
right, bye-bye. All right, phone lines are open. The telephone number I've placed into the subject of the video. So it's 323-488-3149. You're on the air live. There's some feedback coming through your phone.
Hello?
Yeah, so talk to us.
Yeah, I want to talk about the whole transgender thing. I don't understand how people say that we're transphobic because we want them to have their own space. It's just like how black women have their own space, white women have their own space, because it's a time for us to be able to, communicate with each other and talk about our similarities.
Okay, so but is there a phobia? Why don't you want transgender women in our space? Do you have a phobia of them?
I don't have a phobia of them. I feel like we have two different experiences, which is I was never raised to be, masculine, to be a man, to sit there and say, oh, you're not supposed to cry and stuff like that. But they have that experience because they have been raised as a male in society.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? I want someone to call in who can explain to me what transphobia is so that I'll know whether or not I'm transphobic. All right? I would like for someone to do that.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for calling in.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right, phone lines are open. I'm inviting someone who feels that, that we are or I am transphobic, and I would love for you to explain what transphobia is so that I know whether or not I'm afflicted with it. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. So talk to us. Did you see last night's brouhaha?
I did. It was insane. It was insanity. It was, even right down to the person claiming to menstruate with no uterus.
No, this person said they were bleeding from their chopped off genitalia. That's a different story because I don't know what that was coming out of there.
That was very confusing. But I have just like a couple things that I wanted to say. Like first, I think that I think that the real definition of transphobia should be people who actively hate trans people or actively seek to lessen their rights. And I don't think that women wanting a space for themselves actively lessens the rights of trans people. And I think that, women deserve to have, natural born women deserve to have their own spaces because our agendas are different, our experiences are different. And I remember listening to someone last night say like, oh, well, there are lots of women who, maybe don't have the ability to have children, don't have, the ability to menstruate. And I just think that, they don't really understand that that's part of the tragedy of that situation is when you're like, your body can't do something that it's meant to do and that it's supposed to do. I remember watching a YouTube video of Gigi Gorgeous, who is like a really famous trans woman.
Yeah.
And she was talking about her journey having children. And she was crying and she was talking about, like the fact that I can't have children is so upsetting for me. And I think that it's even more upsetting than it would be for a natural born woman. And that's when I kind of like scratched the record. I was like, no, you don't seem to understand that the reason why, women, have this like emotional reaction to maybe like not being able to carry children or whatever it is because it's something that your body is built to do. It's something that you're supposed to be able to do and supposed to be able to experience. And so our experiences are so different and our agendas are so different. And I think that, if they want to come stand on our tile, which I don't think is appropriate, why can't you listen to the feelings of the group that you're trying to enmesh yourself with?
Misogyny.
Why can't you listen to what these people are saying about, how they feel about you encroaching upon their space? And I don't see any transgender women rioting outside of the Brooklyn hospital for the young woman who just died a couple of weeks ago, and nobody can figure out why she, passed away during childbirth. I don't see them fighting for those issues. And so if you want to stand on our tile, then you have to take on the burdens that we care about as well, and not just the burdens that you care about. I know that something that really, breaks my heart is the mortality rate for Black women giving birth in this country.
Yes, exactly.
And the way that people don't think that Black women can feel pain, and the way that a lot of Black women don't have access to gynecological care. And so, if you want to have the same agenda as us, great.
Right.
But if you don't, then you need your own space, because we need to fight for our agenda. And if your agenda doesn't align, then you can't be on this tile.
Okay. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for calling in and weighing in.
Thank you so much for letting me speak my opinion. I'm glad that I was able to get through this my first time.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So you all are fighting in the comments. We got one person saying he's heterophobic. Ralph, why don't you call in? Because you're in the comments cutting up today. And I don't see everybody's comments, but I'm seeing yours, and I see you're cutting up. You're on the air live with Tonya. I need you to turn down your computer.
Yes, hi.
Hi, you're on the air live.
Hi, I'm very happy to be speaking with you. I love your show, and I love your stance and your opinion. I love you standing up for Black women and for women, all women, because I feel as though these men are encroaching in our spaces and that we have to take a stand for it. And we are totally for them having their rights and everything that they're supposed to have. We don't hate these people. You definitely are not transphobic. You are so loving and so kind to everyone and respectful of everyone's feelings and their plight. And I don't agree with anybody calling you transphobic. You have the right to state your opinion without being attacked and called transphobic. That's ridiculous.
You know something? I'm sorry. We got, see, this is what I'm saying. I'm sorry. The comments are coming. And it's pure chaos in the comments right now. And then also, I'm wanting for a person to call in and tell us what the definition of transphobic is, because maybe there is some transphobia in there. Maybe there is a fear that I have of transgender people. Maybe I have a fear and I don't know, and I need someone to help me with the definition, because sometimes if we don't explore, if people keep calling you something, if people keep calling you a thing, and you don't explore whether or not you are that thing, how can you really attest full self-awareness? So I want a person to please let me know what transphobia is, so that I know whether or not I suffer from transphobia. All right.
I completely understand where you're coming from on that issue. I just wanted to call in and to say that I love your content. I've watched so many of your shows. I've never, ever heard anything transphobic come out of your mouth at all, ever. And what I don't like, as a woman, biological, real woman, is that anything that disagrees with them, they call transphobic. And that's the part that I don't like. We can agree to disagree. We can have a difference of opinion, but calling me transphobic or someone calling you transphobic,
what is the definition
I don't agree with that.
What is the definition of transphobia?
The definition is someone who is afraid of a trans person.
Okay.
That has like a fear of them. And I don't fear them, and I don't get that you fear them either.
I'm sorry, but there are some transgender people I fear. I'm not going out there and getting my ass beat. I'm sorry.
I agree. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight a biological man. I don't.
So then you have a phobia.
I don't.
So then maybe you have a phobia too. Listen. I'm getting off the phone because you're making me misbehave. I blame you.
Sweetheart.
I blame you. All right, bye.
Okay, you have a great day.
You too. Listen, Ralph, why are you in these comments lying? Oh, good, you're calling. Let's get this taken care of. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
This is Ralph. You called, I answered.
Why are you in these comments lying? Are you a transgender woman?
No, but if you're going to ask me point blank, you're obviously coming from a transphobic direction. A lot of these comments are exactly what people tell Black people, exactly what people tell gay people. Like, you're not legitimate. You're horrible. You're mentally ill. A lot of people in the comments are really angry about something.
But you know what? Hold on. I have to wonder about your state of mental wellness when you're in these comments claiming that you are a trans woman, and good and doggone well that you are not.
Right.
Just like that person who called in last night talking about they were bleeding from their non-uterus.
You can see in my icon, I'm clearly not a woman. I don't identify as trans or anything. But to ask me that just because I'm advocating for somebody or have sympathy for a certain group is transphobic. It's very rude.
Okay, so since you know what transphobic is, and if there's a person who represents the trans community, please call in and help us understand what transphobia is, because I do have a fear of certain people.
Well, it's good that you're recognizing it, because it's just like almost like racism when you confront a white person about it and they say, well, I'm not this, I'm not that. You're not always aware of your biases and your fears. So it's good that at least you're acknowledging it's possible within you. It's possible within me too. And there's nothing wrong with, we're not perfect, we're humans, but we're not always aware of our fears. And so even with homophobia, a lot of men are like, I'm not homophobic, I just don't like them. Well, where does this anger come from? It comes from this new group that you can't place in your normal perspective. A lot of people still have this old school mentality where men stand over here and women stand over here on the other side. But the world isn't like that. There's not this binary. And so it's almost like, how men are predatory with women, with the way they date, the way they observe women catcalling. Well, now along comes a group of men who are attracted to men. And these hetero men don't realize that now they're on the menu, so to speak, and they don't know, that makes them feel scared, but they won't admit to it.
Well, listen, listen, with the way men are predatory towards women, if a man knows male nature and then now all of a sudden a group of strong, muscular men are now attracted to them, who knows? Who knows what may happen? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Who knows?
But
you see some quivering buttocks in the shower.
I don't think.
Nice.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You don't know what may happen.
You're right. Anything is possible, but you're not going to condemn a whole group of people because you're afraid. But let me ask you this: isn't it also telling that hetero men are afraid of gay men and they totally project all these horrible things that they're afraid they might do to them because they do the same thing to women?
Well, that could be something that needs to be looked into.
Or not, because we can't go into everybody's mind and have this conversation and have this introspective. People should already be taught this respecting people is the most important thing as children.
Okay, so let's jump into the heart of the matter. So I asked you to call me because you're cutting up in the comments. I'm not able to see all comments. What is it that you're seeing in the comments that is disturbing you so? What's going on?
Well, a lot of the language is the same thing.
What language?
Give me some examples that gay people hear and even black people hear. That they're not legitimate, that their lives don't matter, that they're mentally ill, that it's like all this gaslighting, all this hate. It's
okay, so hold on. So we're at 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Let's unpack this, right? Okay. So anybody saying that you saw somebody in the comments say that a trans person's life does not matter. You saw someone write that.
A few times, and last night too.
Okay, well, that definitely is problematic. Has anybody else in the comments saw somebody say that a trans person's life doesn't matter? Because I would love to be able to get to the bottom of this. Now, in terms of mental wellness, I have stated that there is a certain amount of mental unwellness that comes with gender dysphoria. That is the very nature of feeling that you were born in the wrong body. There's mental unwellness that comes along with that. So I'm not really sure.
But it's more complicated than that. It could be because you are fighting with placing yourself in society, right? Because it's such a new step of civil rights, or a new step of like a new era of understanding who you are. You don't see yourself in power yet. You don't see yourself in the White House, or if you're a trans person, you won't see yourself as a CEO necessarily.
I'm talking about, and then so people are now saying that you are untruthing. When I was growing up, we couldn't say liar. Yeah. We couldn't say liar in my household. We used to say untruth. So people are saying that you are untruthing, that no one else in the comments has
based
seen
on what?
Everybody, there's 500 people. Listen, there's 500 people in the comments, and there's no one who has
said the video, everyone.
There's no one there who has said that they've seen anybody else saying that a trans person's life doesn't matter. And I'm wondering whether or not you are projecting from a space as a person who identifies as homosexual, if you are projecting from a place of some of the discrimination that you may have faced, and now
that's not fair, because I speak English, I read English, and I know what I saw. I know what I've seen.
Well, you
and
know
a lot of these comments, you could totally check. You totally know about intention.
We've come to almost at 7 minutes. We're at 6.5. So what I want you to do is I want you to find the screen name of the person who said that a trans person's life does not matter, and I will personally confront that or those people. Okay, do that, because nobody else has seen this. But if you've seen it, I would like for you to bring this to my attention so that I, as the owner of this channel, can handle that right now. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tonya.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in.
All right. Take care.
All right. Phone lines are open. And one of my concerns is that people is interpreting. I need you to turn down your computer in the background, because there's a double thing. You're on mute right now. So give me just 1 second to make this statement, and then we'll go forward. One of my concerns is that people are feeling triggered by people standing their ground and saying, you know what, this space is mine. And one of my concerns is that there's an attempt to silence other people who have a different opinion than yours because you may not like that opinion because you identify in a certain way. So that's one of my concerns. And let's get to the caller. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Yes, I'm Norma.
Hi, Norma. Talk to us.
Yes, so hi, Miss Tonya. Love your station.
Thank you.
I've been looking at your station for a while.
Hold on, Norma. Norma, I just need you to just pause for 1 second. I need to address Raf. Okay, so Raf in the comments is a gay man, and Raf is saying that he accepts trans men as men. So Raf, you're telling me that you're gonna go down there and lick vagina, juicy, moist, secreting vagina. You're gonna go put your face in bush and start licking around. That's what you're gonna do, Raf? Talk to us about that. I want to know because Go ahead, Norma. Go ahead, Raf. I need you to answer that. Go ahead, Norma. Sorry.
So anyways, so first thing, I was trying to support the program, and it wouldn't add money. You know how on the side when you're trying to make a comment and add some money, and it won't do so. So I was confused about that. Number one.
So there's two different ways. There's two different ways that you can send me money. You can become a member on my website by going to TonyaTKO.com, clicking on podcast. And you can become a recurring monthly member and contribute as little as 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, $9.99 a month. You could join on the platinum level at $19.99 a month. You can also do a cash app, which is $TonyaTKO. Part of the reason that I don't have super chat turned on is because I don't like white men in between me and my money. And on YouTube takes 45% of everything that a person contributes. So if you give a person $10, you don't want YouTube to take $4.50 of that. And I don't want YouTube taking your money either because I have credit card processors on my website. So if you want to look, there are other content creators who get themselves, the super chats and all of that. I like there to be nobody in between us, so that the contributory relationship can be a pure one. And then also YouTube and them likes to flex on Black women. And the moment that they decide that they want to take away a Black woman's channel, then all of a sudden you don't know how to reach her anymore. You don't this, that, and the other. So if you want to stay in touch with me, if you want to support me, come to my website. That way we always have a line of communication together, because these other Black female content creators who are using the super chats, the moment YouTube tires of them and their station and their channel is gone, most people don't even know how to reach them again. You don't even know how to get in touch with them again. You know what I mean? So come to me, figure out how to stay in touch with me without white men in between our business. Because I like to be able to talk about race, gender, sex, and if I want to talk about a person putting their face inside a moist bush, I can say that. Without having to feel like white men gonna stop me. So did Ralph answer whether or not he's gonna lick on Birdie? I want to know whether or not he's putting his face in Beaver. So go ahead, Norma.
Okay, so anyways, okay. So thank you for that. I didn't know all that. That was good information. Nevertheless, So with me in regards to transgender, the gays, I don't really associate with gays. I had an incident with a gay, and they had hit me in the bus. So I come in and I'm talking to the bus driver, and they decide to interject what I'm saying to the driver. And I have my son. So since he interjects, I was like, oh, mama. He was like, my mama has 8 kids, and she did fine with all of us, and she paid for all this, and she paid. I said. And so we did good. I said, oh, okay, well, look how you turned out. So after I said that, he just got upset and had a back and forth, and then I could really see his energy and his, he's getting irritated, frustrated. So I just decided not to stop talking. Now, as I'm turning to look forward on the bus to see when's my stop, because my stop's coming up shortly, he stopped me. So of course I cussed him out, but I'm not gonna fight with a whole man. So I don't really care for the gays. Tell you the truth. Me, I don't care for the gays. I think they're worse than women because they're louder. They're they don't have no morals. That's how I think about it. Because why would you hit me when we're just having a conversation and you interject in a conversation? You're gonna hit me with my son right there, and when I'm not looking. So, anyways, in regards to that, I want to talk about that, and that was it actually.
Okay.
So
have you ever been hit by a woman?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've gotten into it with women, but not like.
Okay. Have you ever been hit by have you ever been hit by a heterosexual man?
Yeah, gay.
Oh, so no, heterosexual man, heterosexual, not homosexual.
Yes, my child's father.
Okay. So in one circumstance, you were hit by a homosexual man, and so you're judging the entire group of people based on that homosexual man. So now you're like, I have a problem with the gays. Yet you also were hit by a woman. Do you have a problem with? You have a fear of all women? Do you have a problem with women now?
Well, see, it's not really that, Tonya. The issue is really about see, my child's father. It was, you know, I did something too to aggravate the situation. So that's a different type of situation.
Right. So my thing is, right, that person who was on the bus represented himself. He was violent. He needs to be arrested. But that person represents themselves. He does not represent all gay people. And one of the things that we have to do as people is we have to make sure that as life goes on, we get better, not bitter. That we don't judge entire groups of people based on the actions of one or few, because you really only cut yourself off from, because according to you, you've been hit by women, you've been hit by a man, you've been hit by a gay man. So that's the population right there. So if you have a problem with women, men, gay men, you know, who else is there left for you to have any type of communion with? So you've got to make the decision to put that person in the box of the violence that they exhibited and say, you know what? Because listen, gay people contribute a lot to society. They're gay people in many different facets and walks of life, and they contribute to society. And are there violent gay people? Yes. Are there violent heterosexual people? Yes. And so we've got to take people, when they show us who they are, we believe that that is who that person is. And I'm sorry that you didn't call the police and get that person arrested, because that person is violent and needs to be in someone's jail.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So can I just answer that real fast?
Well,
so the
please
thing about
do.
it is, I don't just get. I'm not a violent person, so I just don't get hit by a man or person.
Yeah, listen.
So that's the same thing to my mom. Like my mom had hit me and abused me. So that could be the same thing. But my thing is that
yeah, but listen,
I see it happen so often with them, with gays. I see it happen often. You know, I'm not just reflecting on just my issue and my situation. I'm reflecting on what I've seen, you know, and what I've heard since that situation. But I definitely agree with you. I understand.
All right,
that's why I love your show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
All right. So Ralph, I see you writing in the comments, but I didn't see you write your answer to the question that I asked you a little while ago. All right. So you're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Ani.
Hi, Ani. So talk to us.
Hi, I was listening to everything that was going on, and I wanted to make one thing clear on speaking on me. I don't identify myself as a transgender woman because honestly, I don't know what else to identify as. So I just normally go as transgender female, but I don't have a womb, so therefore I don't identify as a transgender woman. But I think that a lot of the confusion comes up is because we don't necessarily feel like we have a place to identify with. So we're only left with either, okay, you're either can chart down that you're a man, or you can chart down that you're a woman. So and it's funny because I had to stop when I was talking with my siblings the other night, and I was like, when a girl grows up, she grows up to be a woman. When a little boy grows up, he grows up to be a man. So when you have a transgender child growing up, what do we grow up to be? Do we grow up to be a woman? Do we grow up to be a man? Like, what?
And I think this is an important conversation, and I need you to talk up so that we can hear you better. So the caller is basically saying that the caller doesn't identify as a transgender woman because the caller does not have a uterus. The caller considers themselves a transgender female, and asks the question: a little girl grows up into be a woman, a little boy grows up into be a man. What does a transgender person grow up to be? And I think that it's important to have conversations and create a space, because if there's not a space that's already there, then there's a need to create that space. And I think it's lazy, and that there's a lack of creativity when you choose one or the other. Why not create a new space and say, listen, I am, because what does the word girl or boy mean? These are words that were created by people to describe a thing.
Right.
So why not come up with a new word and say, you know what? Well, we are this word, and these are the criteria that are met for being this new word, and this is what we are. You know, I mean, they came up with the thing called indigo children, right? So right? So that's a made up word, an indigo child. However, they came up with a certain criteria. An indigo child will be this. So if we're going to come up with a new gender, why not just, if there's going to be certain people who are going to be in a category that is outside of what is already in existence, why not come up with a new word, come up with new pronouns? Why not create a revolution? Like, if you're going to create a revolution, I think that's part of the discontent. It's like, instead of creating a revolution and saying, listen, I am here, come up with any word, a plexus, whatever it is that you want to call yourself, right? But the issue is that people are coming in saying, I don't meet this criteria, but yet I'm going to say that I am this thing that already has a criteria. So now you've come from a different criteria. And I gave the example of the lantern, the keepers of the lantern, last night when I told a story. And so there's a thing that already exists. And now you come in saying, you know, I feel like this thing, I have this internal calling saying that I identify with this thing, but never having really traversed the journey as this thing, never having the same biology as this thing that's already in existence. And then saying, well, you know what? I am now going to say I'm in this group where I don't have the criteria to meet in. And so I think that it's important for transgender people to come together and decide, you know what, let's be proud of our journey. Let's be proud of the fact that we had the courage to be able to say, you know what, I have this internal calling, and I'm going to do XYZ to enact that internal calling into real life. And I feel that journey needs to be respected. And I feel that far too many trans women don't respect that journey and try to make it seem like it was just some sort of mishap. It was a mishap, you know.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
Can I comment on that? And I feel like I can speak on behalf of the majority of trans women when I say this to all my cis women. We do not want to impose on anything. And I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions that come along that men have created to pretty much divide pretty much everyone. If it's not heterosexuals against homosexuals, men against women, whites against blacks.
I need you to speak up. Is there possible for you to speak up, because my volume is all the way up?
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was basically saying it seems like everything has been set up to divide everyone, whether it's women against men, white, black, heterosexual, homosexual, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of missing the point that there's solidarity, and I feel like there could be bridges built and a lot of learning from one another that can take place as far as cis women and transgender. I'm gonna say females go because we don't have wombs, so I'm gonna say females. And I don't think that a lot of people is having that type of conversation of how a lot of the trans women that I were mentored from would tell me that, yeah, we were marching with the women's rights and having other lesbian friends there. So I was grown up to always see a certain level of unity as a female. Like, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but the energy of the feminine energy.
Well, you
And
know
I
what?
noticed
I
that.
saw a documentary yesterday called Disclosure, and I like the term trans feminine because female is a thing, woman is a thing, but feminine is an ideal. Feminine is not concrete. Feminine does not have a specific definition like female and woman does. And I'm going to say this to you, and I say this with love. I feel like there is a dismissing of the concerns of biological women when you say, I can listen, when you say that the majority of the people who are trans feminine, that they don't want to encroach upon women's spaces. We have had a different experience. So the founders of Black Girls Rock came under fire from a group of trans feminine people who decided to say, listen, there were no trans girls and no trans women on the platform. And when people who are trans feminine don't check people like that, when they don't check groups like that, when women's battered shelters are allowed to lose funding because the trans feminine are not allowed in the women's battered shelter, when these things continue to perpetuate, when people who are trans feminine are allowed into sports with girls and pulverize them, and the trans feminine community doesn't speak up against that, it leaves women there to have to fight and advocate for themselves. When Always MaxiPad removes the female symbol from MaxiPad and the trans feminine community doesn't speak up against that, and the trans masculine community doesn't speak up against that, it leaves the biological people to speak up. And then it seems like, okay, so then the trans feminine women or the trans feminine community wants to come in and then advocate for the things that we have in common, but they're not checking their community on the encroaching. So it's like any other thing. It's like you are allowing your group to encroach, to bully, bogard, and then and then say, well, it's not my experience that we're like that, but the encroaching is still happening, the bogarting is still happening, the shaming is still happening, and the silencing of the voices is still happening, and the trans feminine community is not checking it, but are ignoring it, allowing it to run rampant. Yes, and we only have a few more minutes. We've been on the line for 10 minutes.
Okay. And this is going into the sports with women and trans women.
I need you to speak up.
I'm kind of confused. This is going into sports with women and trans women. I'm kind of confused, and please, let me know if I'm mistaken. But from growing up, I've seen a lot of women try to fight to get in the same positions as men in sports, or I would say, for instance, boxing, for instance. There was a time where women was like, okay, I should be able to fight in the ring. Like,
with Mike Tyson?
No women. No, not Mike Tyson, just in the ring, period.
But I'm saying, but do they want to get in the ring with men?
I'm sorry?
What woman has wanted to get into a boxing ring with a man? What woman?
Okay, for instance, I'm gonna use an example. It was a movie that Michelle Rodriguez played in, and it was basically showing how women weren't allowed to be in certain sports, so they had to kind of fight for their position in certain sports.
And
I don't,
you know
like I
what?
said,
And
I'm
so
not
listen,
too
listen.
informed on
I
that,
hate to
but
cut you off, right? I'm just gonna say this one last thing, and then we're going to need to transition out of the phone call. All right. Women have had to fight to participate in sports with other women. So if there was no category for the women in those sports, like if there was no, there used to be no football teams for women, but women fought to be able to have flag football teams with other women. This is the same thing that trans feminine people need to do. They need to fight to have their own category of sports so that they can be able to compete against other trans feminine people. It's as simple as that. So create your own space rather than the space that biological women have fought to be in. And then also have biological women consented to being called cis women. So it's like you're calling us cis women, but what biological female has consented to this word? Where was the round table where biological women were like, yeah, cis is all, yeah? Or are we being given a name that we didn't consent to, that we don't identify with? And so there's another part of the encroaching. So listen, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate your point of view.
you're welcome.
All right. All right, so the phone lines are open, and I'm happy that there's a greater representation of trans persons on this live than last night, because last night was a brouhaha. Listen, you're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name? It sounds like there's some grumbling going on. Are you okay, Des? Everything? Oh no! Lord of mercy! It sounds like this person was in a tornado. Oh my gosh. When you call up, please be in a stable spot. I thought there was a bear was attacking. I didn't know what was going on. All right. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hi, Tonya. My name is Lucretia. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Lucretia with a C?
Yes, with a C, yes.
Okay. Hi, Lucretia. Talk to us.
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for providing this space. I feel like we need this open dialogue, and you are the only person. Well, I see other people doing this, but I feel like you've done it in an extended way, and I really appreciate the time and energy that you've just put into this, creating this space for us to comment publicly on this. There are a couple of things that I want to say, but I do want to be respectful, so I just want to make a disclaimer that I am not against any trans people. I am not transphobic. I am not homophobic. I'm none of that. And I will not accept those claims or have that put onto me. Now that that's out of the way, I feel like we need to, as we unpack this conversation, we need to address what is trans identity built on. For me, the way that I look at it as an anti-capitalist is that I feel like trans as an identity is built on materialism. I do not think, what did you say?
You said trans identity is built on materialism? Or...
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Please explain.
Yes, so I feel like if trans women of today did not have access to, cosmetic surgeries, would they still be trying to claim the space of a biological woman? I don't believe that they would. And so how can you have an identity built on science experimentation, or just not even just science experimentation, but even like clothes or heels? And like when people say I dress like a woman, so consider me a woman, like what does that mean? As a Black woman who's been called like a drag queen because I'm not always the most feminine, and I had a lot of brothers growing up and I was a little bit of a tomboy. And as a Black woman, it took a while for me to get comfortable with my femininity. And I do think that Black femininity is fragile because we haven't had access to being seen as a person who should be cared for in a way that I think that this conversation has been evoking, right? Like, what does it mean when we say that we want to be women, right? I think it means we want respect for our wombs. We want to be respected as life givers and all of that. But I know I'm rambling, but just to go back like to the trans material identity part, I'm saying that I just want for people to be honest about that. If it wasn't for these things that they are purchasing, would we be even calling them a woman? Would this conversation be the same if it was not for that?
Well, you know what? I'll say this. In the documentary that I saw last night, even in the days of when film first started in black and white, there were people who felt a trans identification. So there was no surgery and procedures then, and it was harder to be able to pass. And even now, there are people who, even with all of the surgeries, can't pass. And there are hierarchies even within the trans community between the people who are put forward who are able to pass and the people who are not able to pass. And so the people who are passable, who can look like, who are trans feminine and look like women, they are given the spotlight. But the other people who feel like women, but their shoulders are too broad or they got too much of the after shadow, these people are kind of kept in the background. You know, like with telenovelas. In telenovelas, they have the light-skinned people who are there being all glamorous, but then you never see the dark-skinned people because they're kind of like, oh, this is Latin America's secret. So in the trans community is a hierarchy where the masculine-looking trans feminine persons are kept in the shadows, and people like Laverne Cox and the people who are pretty, you know, they're pushed to the forefront, and the other people are basically ignored and their experience trampled on even by other trans feminines. So
yes,
and they do
also,
take hormones. They
ahead,
take hormones. I'm sorry, some of the comments. They say they can take, but they do take hormones, and they just are not able. Their ribs are too big. Their shoulders are too wide. They can't get the hips right. They don't have they just. So go ahead, Mama.
Well, thank you for that. And I agree with you that there are some trans people who are pushed to the back because they're not presenting as feminine as others. And I think that that's a problem for Black women too, right? Like, I think that if trans identity folks are just trying to say, I perform this persona of a woman or this image of a woman, so you should accept me as that. Black women have always had our womanhood questioned. And so I don't think that that's a healthy thing for us to go towards if it's just based on a physical appearance. And if it's not based on a physical appearance, then what is it based in, right?
On an idea.
So I would like, go ahead.
On an idea, that's it.
On an idea. And I know I'm approaching like the end of my time, so real quick, I want to just say what's at stake. I think what's at stake in this conversation is Black women's labor. I think trans women want Black women to be holders and caretakers for them, and I get it. You know, Black women, we are the mothers in our community. Everybody wants us to care for them, but I do not see them fighting for us in the same way. And I don't feel cared for by them. I don't. Yeah. And I think that if we do want to be in solidarity, there has to be a conversation about how do we take care of each other. I don't think they need to be in our category for that to happen. Yeah. So I just want to thank you again for this space. And I hope that we can do this on something that is not just about trans women in the future. I hope that we can have conversations about Black women, cis women, biological women, like what should be our priorities right now, you know? So thank you for this.
Well, before you go, what do you think should be our top priority as bio Black women?
Well, like one of the previous callers said, in terms of Black maternal health, I am very concerned about that.
Gotcha.
I do not have kids yet, and I'm terrified. I'm 30, and I'm terrified that when I go to the hospital, I may not come out. Yeah. Right, and I think that should be one of our priorities right now.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for calling in.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. So someone says, what is based on an idea that a person is trans feminine? It's an idea that they have because there's no corroborated criteria, scientific criteria that says that this person is this thing. All right. You are on the air live with Tonya. What is your name?
Hi, I'm Nali.
Hi, Nali with the...
How are you?
N-A-L-I, Nali?
Yes, N-A-H-I.
Oh, okay. All right. So, hi, Nali. So, talk to us. What is your comment today?
I like the term trans femme. I'm actually going to use that. I like that. I'm trans femme. And I think it's
very hard because I think what happens is, you know, a lot of people in the Black community aren't quite woke. So when trans people don't know what we know, we follow what the main people say. Because even in my I'm only 28, even in my experience, there was once upon a time where we understood that we had our own space, and then there was the woman's space. But for some strange reason, it's getting to the point where it almost looks like we're trying to push you all out the way. And I'm here to apologize for that, because before I started like really trying to go on my spiritual journey, I was a part of that, or getting upset if a woman wasn't comfortable with some of those things. But which was only because the movement was picking up. But before then, I didn't care, because in my experiences, even if I was a woman, when I was growing up, I wouldn't have been as considered feminine, because I looked up to women that were, I can do what the men can do, and I can, you know. So it is a really tiring topic, but I genuinely do care about women. And if Black women, if I'm pro-Black and I'm pro-woman, then I have to understand that when someone says, hey, this is hurting me, I don't understand this, I accept you for who you are, but can we have this boundary right here, and we can meet up. We're feminine, so we're gonna meet somewhere, but I don't have to be attached to everything that women do. There are certain things that through the spiritual journey, there's a Miss Tonya, if you got pregnant right now, all I could do is just be there for you. I couldn't be able to give you any kind of advice on any issues that could happen. You know, all I can do is open the door for you, call that ambulance or whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. So I do think that it's my responsibility as a trans person to stand up and say this, and I do, and I'm going to be very honest with you, there are a lot of other, don't fall for the hype, there are a lot of other Black trans people who feel this way. But my thing is, if you're not saying anything, then, you know, it's guilty by association. If you're not saying anything, you're feeling that way, it doesn't matter. So
Exactly. Well, you know, what does transphobia mean to you?
Well, the trans community is showing transphobia. Because you know what I think what it is? Nobody wants to be labeled as a freak or seen as a freak. What transgender people are doing right now is transphobia. We're afraid of ourselves. See, I think last night or yesterday you were like, why don't we just, you know, you all just say that you are these unique individuals. That's the way that we felt at one point. But I think that when the idea that we could be the same as the other people, you know, like straight heterosexual people, it's almost like you know how they say the devil comes at you with everything that you want and you will like sell out for it, or things that you think that you want. That's what it is. Because in my experience, I've always felt like, because I was a feminine boy growing up, my manhood was taken, because it was like, oh, you can't play these sports because you act like a girl. Okay, I'm feminine, I act like a girl, I claim that, but I'm going to beat you up in this boxing match, or I'm going to, outrun you on the track.
Yeah.
And it's snatched away. So when we grow older and we say, okay, well, then it's like, no, you're a man, remember? But I do understand the plight of trans people, especially in the Black community. But through my spiritual experience and through my spiritual journey, I understand, being a woman is, I have a 5-year-old little sister upstairs. You made a very good point, and I have mentioned this before. When she had issues wiping, when I kept her for the first time, I had to Google what to tell her, and then I called my mother. And I think transness needs to be, first of all, when we get into our spiritual practices, you'll learn that there are natural ways to physically feminize yourself. That ain't nothing. You just gotta quit being lazy and get out in the garden. But, for the breast development, you have to go take the hormones that the doctor gives you. But, the best thing for me to make you feel fulfilled in your feminine journey, and if there's any trans people listening, I really want y'all to do this. Stop trying to be a bad bee or all of that. When my little sister talks to me, she knows, she calls me her big sister, and she knows what I am. She knows what I am. But she, on her own, called me her big sister. So instead of imposing on women's faces, when you excel in femininity that matters, you're gonna, who you are as a person is gonna be, you're gonna be complete. Anything else is extra.
Okay.
Anything else is extra. And I know I'm running out of time, but I just wanted to say I love your show.
Thank you.
And I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. And you know what? You definitely have assisted in the paradigm shift, because what transgender people may be doing is transphobic by not acknowledging and being proud of the trans experience, that in and of itself is transphobic. So thank you. I'm going to do some more pondering on that. I'm really glad that you called in. If I can cuss out, if I can holler at callers, I think that I can also give compliments to callers. So thank you for calling in with your perspective. And I think that one of the differences is that you have done spiritual work. And I think that for far too many people, they haven't done the spiritual work. So they're still in their toxic masculine. And in order to really, truly hold a feminine space, there has to be spiritual work, because women are just naturally more spiritual. You have to be reincarnated and do a certain amount of spiritual work in each lifetime to incarnate as a woman. And so there's definitely a need for more spirituality amongst people in order to be able to tap in with their feminine. So yeah, you know what? And why don't you jump into the comments and let people know what are some of the things they can get in the garden to feminize themselves naturally. All right. Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, that was a very helpful phone call that actually really opened up a whole new train of thought. Is it transphobic for a transgender person to not acknowledge their journey and try to be ashamed of their past? You are on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Tonya.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome. So what is your comment today, Tonya?
I wanted to speak to you because I've been watching you for years, at least well over a decade, since you've been running in Central Park.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was 2007, 2008. 12 years now.
Yeah, and I have to say, you have been a voice for us, even when others have kind of taken away how you feel about us. And I really want to thank you for that, Tonya.
Oh, well,
like, I'm watching you and I'm feeling like so proud.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of transsexual, and I'm a transsexual, I'm a little nervous, sorry. I just feel like a lot of transsexuals what they don't do is do the inner work of being a woman. They rush to get the work done, the physical work, but they forget the emotional work that we have to do.
Okay, what type of emotional work do you feel a transgender, transsexual person needs to do?
I think the inner work as far as you being a woman, as far as how the world perceives you, and the work as far as what you have gone through as an individual, if that's between your family, between males and females, and where do you fit in that?
Okay.
Yeah, so I think a lot of transsexuals, they forget that, and they get the work done.
I need some examples. I need some examples of the emotional work. So what type of emotional work can you do with your family to help you along the journey?
Seeking therapy for yourself,
okay,
and then involving them in that therapy. That's if they're supportive, because there's a lot of transsexuals that don't have supportive family members.
Okay, so getting therapy, what else are some of the things?
Well, it's actually one of the things that we must get to transition to move further with our surgeries, with getting hormones. So it's something that's required of us.
Okay. Okay.
Which is good because it kind of forces us to look at ourselves in the mirror and to do the work.
Yeah, but you said that there are a lot of transgender people who rush into the transition without doing the emotional work. When I asked you what emotional work they should do, you said getting therapy, but then you also said therapy is mandatory in order to be able to have the procedures done, which means that they're not actually rushing in. They're going and they're getting the psychological assessments and the counseling done. So
there are some that do a shortcut and that they do the requirements or the minimum requirements that they need to do to get the surgery, and they don't continue personal therapy.
Got you. So they get the therapy for the transition and they don't do the emotional therapy. Okay, perfect. Got you.
Right.
Got you.
Right. And I don't feel that we should be fighting females who are not like us. I don't feel that is. I think I've been in community meetings within the gay community to where that's their agenda, and I've argued against it. But they, like for example, the word transgender. And I've been I really prefer transsexual, because that's what we were before transgender. And transgender put us all in a box, including transvestite, people that consider themselves non-confinement. All these new terminologies, a lot of us don't agree with, and it comes from the base of the community.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, so they just put us all in a box by saying, oh, they're transgender, oh, you're a transsexual, you're transgender.
Well, why do you prefer the term transsexual over transgender?
For a long time.
Right, but why do you prefer the term transsexual over transgender? What do you see as the difference?
I feel that it pinpoints that we are transitioning into being a woman.
Okay, and then what's the difference between that and transgender?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What's the difference between that and transgender?
The difference between that and transgender is that a transvestite could fit in our box, like someone who just dressed up because of the thrill of it. We're not dressing up for the thrill of it.
Oh, I see.
A cross-dresser could also be considered a transgender.
Oh, how interesting. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you feel that transsexual really encompasses people who are working on changing their sex, but transgender encompasses people who are playing with gender, trying to change their gender, all of those other things.
Right.
But you said the word transgender put people in a box.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. You said that the word transgender put people in a box, but that sounds like the box is larger than transsexual.
Right, it is larger than transsexual.
Okay.
It's
and you said
it's a non-stop box.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then you said that you've been at meetings where the agenda of the meeting was to fight against bio women.
You said at meetings what? I'm
No,
sorry.
you said that you've been in meetings where the agenda was to fight against bio women.
They don't say so. They don't obviously say so, but there are agendas and where they want to fight against that. Like, for instance, it became a large thing in getting permission to kind of use a female bathroom, and transsexuals have been using the female bathroom since the 70s. It's been a non-issue.
Right. So, but then how does that, I want you to give me an example of what are some of the things that you've seen at these meetings that denote that they want to fight against bio women. What are some of the things that you've witnessed? So you said the bathroom thing, but I don't get how that's a fight if you said that it's already been done.
Some of the things that I personally see is that some transsexuals want to, they don't want to exist as transsexuals. For instance, they want to remove their birth certificate of their gender. Some of them don't want any trail of who they ever were. And then, well, who are you then?
Okay, so you feel that is a direct fight against biological women?
I do.
Why do you feel that having the birth certificate changed is a fight against bio women?
Because I feel that you need to allow people who are female from birth, you need to allow them to be in places and whatever issues they have to require services. But when we take those services from them, it's kind of an attack on them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so you're saying once the birth certificate is changed, that there is no differentiation then, and anything that is available for a bio woman, that they feel that it should be available. Okay, gotcha.
There are some companies that basically then it's basically where they go against, oh, you can't say transgender, this person have had this change, that change, this change, and that change. And it makes us disappear. And it also, and I don't agree with the disappearing. Like, I think a transgender should have the right to be seen, regardless if they're feminine or look somewhat still like they have transitioned and gone through, haven't gone through so much work as someone who have gone through quite a bit of work. I feel that we should be visible. Okay. And the fact that a lot of companies or a lot of gay organizations, I'll say, they kind of want to mix us all in one box, and some of us not be visible and some of us to be visible.
Got you.
And I'm just against that.
Got you. All right. Well, you know what? Thank you so much. Your call was also helpful. Thank you. A lot of helpful calls today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tonya. Have a great day.
Oh, you know what? I do have a question for you. If you've been watching for so long, how come this is your first time calling in?
Well, there was a point that you kind of disappeared from YouTube, and I couldn't find you, and I recently just found you again.
You know, I have a new channel. The new channel is Tonya TKO TV. So I was making most of my stuff over there, but then that channel, YouTube started acting up. So now I have two channels. So just make sure you're subscribed to both. That goes for you and everybody out there as well, okay? And also you make sure you go follow me on Facebook, and make sure you're on my personal mailing list, because most of the people here are on my mailing list.
Okay, I'll definitely look out for that and search for those things. Thank you so much.
All right. The links are in the description of this video. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so back to back. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Talia.
Hi, Talia. So talk to us. What is your comment today? I need you to turn down your computer in the background and just listen to me through the phone, because there's a delay. So you have to turn down your computer so you're not confused.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So basically, I used to watch you years ago. You actually had a video with me about me a long time ago. You had posted a video, and it was about basically, you know, someone writing to you about their story, how they were a young kid and they wanted to transition. Do you remember this?
No, I don't, but you can say more so I can
Okay, so it was about maybe 2000 and maybe 10. I had wrote you and I told you that I was from the suburbs of Chicago and I was a young kid who was struggling with identity and who I wanted to be and things. And you made a video and you read the letter, you know, out loud. And, you know, it was a video. About maybe, you know, 2010.
Okay.
You don't remember at all? I don't know.
You know, I remember in 2010, I spoke about the transgender issue, but I remember doing a video about a trans man. But I don't.
This one was way before you ever spoke. It was like way before all this commotion with the transgender stuff. This was like years and years and years ago, because I would always watch your videos because I always admired you.
Okay.
And so, you know, I would watch them and I felt confided. I thought I could express myself and talk to you and communicate with you and send you my letter, and then you made a video about it.
Okay.
But I get it, you don't remember. But I just want to simply say that I finally found you again, and I'm happy to see that you're still here and things. And I wanted to tell you that from a transgender perspective, I wanted to tell you that, listen, we don't have all the answers ourselves. We don't know completely what this means to us. You know what I mean? And I feel like no matter what, this is the biggest form of flattery to a woman, you know, to females. I think that you guys are amazing, powerful. You know what I'm saying? That a person of the opposite gender would transition to become a woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of the biggest forms of flattery. And I would never want a female to ever feel like, okay, like, it's, you know, kind of shady, because it's like, you know, it's admiration. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying. I mean, the white people on Instagram who are darkening their skin and braiding their hair so it could be fluffy, and who are blackfishing, I mean, they may say that that's a form of flattery that we should accept too. So go ahead.
Yeah, but then when you were saying that about the, you know, am I transphobic? I can see, you know, in your face as you're, you know, asking these questions like about this, that you're not really here for it. I can see it. So it's kind of like, I feel like you know that you are transphobic. And I get it. You may not understand it. It's a lot of commotion. It's a lot of stuff people are, you know, identifying. And I get you're about the truth and everything like that. But I just feel like you just let people be themselves. And just, you may not understand everything. There's nothing that we can tell you that will make you completely understand why this is our path. There's nothing that we can tell you. There's no way we can express it. Just let us have that. Just respect us in our life and just simply her, she. It's just like it won't kill someone to do that. We're not bothering, we're just trying to live our lives. You know what I mean? And the person that said something before, the transgender woman, you know, like you said, we don't know all the answers. We don't know everything. Everyone has a different perspective of transgender. But all I can simply tell you is it is an experience that we cannot explain to you, that only we know, and all we can ask for is you to tolerate that and just accept us.
Okay.
What's so difficult about that? Allow us to live our lives.
So you feel that I am transphobic. So help me understand what your definition of transphobic is so that I can hold that up against who it is that I can examine myself to be. What's your definition of transphobic?
Well, I would say that I can tell, when I look at you, I can tell that you wouldn't accept it, but you would tolerate it. And that's all we can ask for. I would say that it's not fear that you have, but I can tell that you're not here for it.
that you
I'm not
don't,
here for what?
that you're very, you're questioning me in a way that's kind of like, oh, well, what does this mean? Or, oh, well, you just said that this is this, it's kind of like you're trying to catch us up in our not being real about ourselves or something.
Listen, if you'd like to have a conversation with me, then we can converse. I asked you, you called me transphobic. I'm asking you, what do you feel what's your definition of transphobic, and where do you see that I meet up with the definition of transphobic? So let's start with your definition of transphobic.
My definition of transphobic would be to basically be against it, to not accept us, not call us our name, or anything to respect us, to even ask the question. The fact that you're asking the question, am I trans, and that you know that there lies some transphobia there. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, so let's explore that a little bit. So you said that you feel that I do not respect transgender people and do not feel that transgender people should exist. And that's where you feel the transphobia, and you feel that asking the question is indicative of there being transphobia. Is this what your stance is?
No, my stance is that I can feel that you're trying, like I said, you're trying to basically, trying to connect the dots on what does this mean, what does this mean? It's like, it's not coming from a loving place. It's not coming from a Tonya TKO loving place. It's coming from a detect and analyze type of place. Like you have to dissect to see if you're okay with it. That's where it's coming from. The stance and everything. That's what I'm feeling.
Okay. And you feel that as a biological woman that I am wanting to stop trans feminine women or transgender women from living and existing, that I'm trying to...
I never said that.
Well, it sounded as if you said, and I'm listening to what it is that you're saying, I'm asking you a question, then you answered. You said that why can't we just allow you all to live and live your lives without having to understand it? So I'm asking you whether or not you feel that I am encroaching into a trans feminine space and attempting to stop trans feminine women from living.
Because like I said, because it's the fact that you're making videos like this asking about transphobia, and so that lets me know right there that there's an underlying issue between it. And you need to be the one to express that. You're asking and analyzing me, but I want to know from you, do you accept us? Can you accept us? Because it doesn't seem like you can, because I feel like you're trying to catch me up in something about my identity and my life. And that's not fair. I feel like we're not hurting you by walking around in dresses and wearing wigs and stuff. That's not offending a biological woman. And I feel like we allow other people's lives to get in the way of our own.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. If there were people who were just walking around in dresses and just living, that would be one thing. You go about your business and you live, that's one thing. Attempting to sue the Girl Scouts because they feel that trans girls should be in the Girl Scouts. Bringing Black Girls Rock under fire and demanding that trans women be on the not only in the program, but on stage presenting that trans women deserve to be in that space and that trans girls deserve to be in the space of Black Girls Rock, taking away funding from Women's Battered Shelter because the trans feminine are not allowed in the Women's Battered Shelter, having the female symbol removed from Always maxi pads. So if it were just oh, I'm living my life, I'm dressing up, I feel that I'm a woman, that's one thing. However, now when the encroaching begins, when the entitlement begins, and the feeling of deserving to be or being owed space in a certain place, when that starts happening, then I, as a self-love specialist, must speak up, and I must say The most loving thing that a person can do is acknowledge their journey, their specific, unique journey. And I think that you're not really qualified to speak on my stance without really having watched the 7 hours of videos that we have already spent in this week alone. And then when we get to this, now we're coming upon 9 hours of videos where I have spoken extensively. And there is not anything that I have spoken against trans women. And if there are people who are calling me transphobic, right? Of course, I'm going to ask them what is their definition of transphobia. And if you feel that you're going to get caught up or like I'm trying to trip you up, that's a clear indication that your definition is flaky, loose, and not substantiated. So if a person is going to call me a thing, I need that thing to be defined, and I need to be able to hold me up against that thing and see whether or not I fit the criteria of that thing. Because listen, I love myself and I want people to love themselves as well. This is why I do what I do. This is why I wrote this book, the Book of Affirmation Self-Love. And this is a powerful book to help you rewrite your subconscious programming and reattune you for self-love. And what it is that I see is I see a lot of transgender people who do not love themselves enough to acknowledge their journey and the viability thereof. Transitioning from male to female is a journey that deserves to be recognized, not forgotten like it was some mistake that happened in the past.
Okay, so if it deserves to be recognized, then why is it that there's a problem when things are changing as far as like, oh, you say the next path and all these different things are changing, then why is it a problem then? And all I'm saying is you have to get with the times. The times are changing. You know, people are trying to express themselves. Our people now express themselves more and finding out what it means about the world. Let me address
that. As a biological woman and as a person who advocates for Black women, right? I advocate for Black women. That's the journey that I know. And that is the most downtrodden group in America is the Black biological. Listen, excuse me. If you'd like to have a conversation, we can have a conversation. Excuse me. You asked me a question, right? If you'd like for me to answer the question that you asked, and you see this behavior that you're exhibiting right here is very masculine. Cutting me off and attempting not to allow me to speak is very masculine.
Because I feel like I don't have
You've been on the phone for 12 years. Let's take a survey. Let's take a survey. Have I allowed this caller to speak? If I have allowed this caller to speak, put up the number 4. If I have not allowed this caller to express themselves, please put up a number 5. If you feel that I'm being talked over and not allowed to speak, put up the number 6. I would like to be able to see those numbers because it's like I'm giving you the floor. I've had you on my airwaves for 13 minutes. And you're still saying that and then you ask me a question, and then when I attempt to answer the question, you then start cutting me off. Right? Why is it a problem for always maxi pads to remove the female symbol? The female symbol represents the uterus. The female symbol with the circle, the line, and this, it represents the uterus and the fallopian tubes. Having that removed is the removing of the importance of the uterus in the period. Only people with uteruses have periods. Only people with uteruses have periods. Why is that an issue? Listen, I have no issue with a person coming in and things changing. I have no issue with change. As a matter of fact, I embrace change. When I was living in my car, I had to say these affirmations to be able to rewrite my programming to rise out of that situation. I am not inflexible to change. What I am inflexible to are people bullying and encroaching upon a space that already exists for people who fit a certain criteria. So I have no issue with people saying, you know what? I am this new thing that is rising up and I will create this criteria for me. The issue is that the people who are encroaching upon the space that has already been created by people who fit a criteria, the people who are encroaching don't fit the criteria. And in their misogyny and masculine glory, they are asserting that they demand to be in the space that has already been carved out by the people who occupy that space right now. That's the problem that I have. And that's what I am intolerant to. Yes. Am I phobic? Now, I want to hear the definition of what this phobic is so that we can test whether or not Tonya is phobic.
Tonya, I never wanted to get into this type of like an argument or any type of that with you. You know, I really like your videos. I really think that you're a really nice person, really cool. So all I want to simply say is that you speak a lot about self-love and that, you know, you have a affirmation book about self-love and things like that. But I feel like what I have noticed about women, because I really, like I said, I really take up for women and all kind of stuff. What I've noticed about women is the ones that love themselves the most don't mind about what it is or what's changing about in gender. They don't care. They accept you for who you are. But the ones that don't have that complete self-love, those are the ones that have something to say. You see what I'm saying?
No, I'm actually going to challenge you on that.
And that's what I don't like. And I feel like for you to be speaking on self-love,
I'm going to challenge you on
have
that.
a little bit more self-love.
Your argument,
there can't be no self-love.
Your argument is fallacious. Your argument is fallacious. It's not a viable argument. Because a person it's not a viable argument, because when it comes to self-love, loving who it is that you are and the unique space that you hold in life, the unique space that you hold in the process of allowing life to come into this earth. When a person loves themselves, they do not allow the essence of who it is that they are to be downgraded or disrespected. The uterus is integral. The uterus is integral to life coming onto earth. And anybody who cannot say out loud uteruses matter, they cannot be in the conversation.
Uteruses matter.
All right then. Just like Black Lives Matter.
And also another thing too is I don't ever want there is a difference between a female and a transgender woman.
Yes,
there completely is. I don't want you guys to ever feel like we're taking over or we're jumping in your lane and we're the same thing as you or the second. We're not. I'm not out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I do want to say. You know.
All right, you sat here on my airwaves and told me that I need to love myself more because I'm advocating for women being able to hold the space that is important. There is no transgender person who has come onto this earth who didn't pass through the keeper of the womb. There's no transgender person who doesn't owe their life and ability to be on this earth to the person who held the womb that held them and pushed them successfully into this world.
Well, absolutely. But are we denying that by being ourselves?
Right. So tell me where my lack of self-love comes in, because I'm advocating for the important role. Yes, let me hear this. I'm listening.
Your lack of self-love is the fact that you basically said that, okay, well, when things are being taken away and things are changing as far as gender and maxi pads and all these things are changing, you know. You mentioned that right there lets me know. You know what I'm saying? That there's a problem.
You know what? Listen, no funding should be taken away from a women's battered shelter because a transgender person.
But why can't we have funding? Why can't we step up? We're a community of people.
Right.
Too.
You know what? Listen. You know what? Why don't you do this? Why don't you advocate with a transgender group to be able to get battered shelter for transgender women? Get a Black Trans Rocks. Get specific. Get what it is that you need.
They are doing
All
stuff
right.
like that.
All right.
But why can't we feel included when we appreciate you guys the most?
You're not entitled.
Why can't Black women be included when we appreciate Black women the most?
You know what? I've had to put you on mute. Because you have the audacity to come here and talk to me about what it is that transgender women deserve. You do not deserve to be in the space of biological women. You don't deserve, you're not entitled to be there. You biologically, you are, listen, so then where is the lack of self-love coming from, the claim? Because you're projecting your own lack of self-love onto me.
Listen, Tonya, I already created a space where I simply said, listen.
So then you know what? Call your people out. Listen, I've had to put you on mute again. Call your people out. When you see that there are trans feminine people who are actively advocating for the erasure of the womb holders, call them out. Don't come to me and talk about how I don't love myself. Go talk to those people and talk to them about how they don't love themselves because they don't feel that there's a difference between a person who was born with testicles.
If you love yourself, you would respond from a place of love and not a place of argument.
You know what? Unfortunately, you don't understand what real love looks like. You don't understand what it looks like.
Girl, unfortunately, fuck you. And you don't even have a man or anything going on with your motherfucking life. You're sitting there talking about a group of people, and you're sitting there talking about a group of people that you don't understand. Ain't nobody else fighting for you guys. The black man ain't fighting for you.
Keep saying it.
So it is the black trans women that are stepping up to say something about your ass, and for you not to accept us is rude. How dare you?
Go ahead. Right.
The men aren't looking for you. The men are not looking for black women, et cetera, et cetera. But I love black women, and we love them. That we decided to become that. And you have a nerve to be sitting at us. It was without appreciation. That's wrong. We love you. We're the only ones. We're showing you that we love you because we admire you so much that we're sitting here dressed like this. And you have to predict you have to sit there and debate if you're going to be on my side or not. When nobody else is standing for you, the black man ain't stuffing up for you. Nobody is, but we are. We will fight for you. I will fight for a black woman, all kinds of stuff. I came out of one. I'm never saying that I will become a full-fledged female. I'm not saying that's impossible. I give you respect for that. But let us have ours because there ain't nobody fighting for you but us.
Right. So you feel, no, listen, you said fuck me. And then you went on to how black men don't want us and how we must have you all in our spaces when you come from the place of fuck you and nobody wants you. Right, because the struggle comes from within you.
And that's all I'm trying to tell you is that all I'm trying to tell you is at the end of the day, right or wrong, is anybody else fighting for black women? Yes or no?
Yes.
Who is fighting for black women besides other black women? Black men ain't doing it. White men ain't doing it. White women ain't doing it.
Right.
But guess what? The LGBT community,
now I get
the gay men that you confide in as friends, they stick up for you. The transgender women, they stick up for you. We got your back.
Right. So now I understand. Now I understand. So you feel that because black women are the most downtrodden and you feel that nobody else is fighting for the black women, that those dumbass bitches should allow trans women to be in the fight because no fucking anybody else wants them.
I'm black and my family is all black.
Right. Because you listen. You know, I don't know. I've had to put you on mute again because you're going off in your full masculine glory. I don't know if there's anybody out there who saw Hamilton when King, I believe it was it King James came out and started singing, I love you so much that I'll send my battalion to kill your friends and family. So when this transgender person on the line is talking about how much they quote unquote love black women, but then going to talk about fuck you, don't nobody else want you, so you might as well accept us and accept us and crouching upon your space. That's the full crux of it right there. Listen, thank you so much for calling in. It was great to be able to have you to expose yourself and the real deal on the line. Thank you. You don't love me because
you did nothing but
right. Listen, I had to cut that person off. It's just too much. All right, so hold on. All right, so YouTube had a little bit of a hiccup and we are back now. So you're on the air live. Did you get a chance to witness that?
Hi, hello.
Hi, you're on the air live.
I'm sorry. This is Anonymous?
Okay, so you're on the air live, Anonymous.
Okay, thank you. I called last night, actually. So
Yeah.
I really just wanted to touch on what the biggest problem for me in this discussion, and just in general.
I need you, you know what, I need you to pause for just a moment. I'm going to put you on mute because I need to address the last caller, right? Give me just one moment. I'm just going to put you on mute. All right, so I wasn't able to see all of your comments. Because YouTube had a hiccup and the comments had stopped, right? And someone's asking, how was I able to hold my composure? I'm able to hold my composure during that because I know that what that person was spewing was more about what was going on inside of them. When a person is suffering from self-love issues, mental health crises, and all of those types of things, they often project exactly what it is that they're going through on the inside onto other people. However, if you give them enough space, they'll let the truth of how it is that they truly feel come out. And there are lots of abusive people out there who feel that nobody else wants you, so you need to put up with my abuse. And there was, how many of you out there saw Hamilton when he came out and he was like, and the king was like, what was you all remember the song? And he was basically like, I keep thinking of another play, but in the song he was like, I'll send my fully armed battalion to remind you of my love, King George III. And he was going on about how they're going to, how he's not really going to let them go. You'll be back, remember? And he was just going on about how you'll be back, you're gonna want me, and I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. And I will kill your no, exactly. Nobody else wants you, so you better accept whatever it is that I'm doing to you. That nobody else is checking for you. And these people will come out and they will attempt to abuse you. And so listen, and I want you all to know it's not you. People see themselves reflected in you, and when they attack you, they're really attacking their own reflection. And so we'll get into that a little bit more after this call because I don't want to keep her holding for too long. All right, Anonymous, please go forward.
Okay, so I was saying the biggest problem for me that I think is just the root of the problem is empathy. A few calls before this one, we were listening to a transgender woman, and I don't remember her name unfortunately, but I could just tell that she was someone that Nolly. Mm-hmm. Yes, she was someone that had so much empathy and self-awareness. And we were able to listen to a meaningful conversation and actually learn something but when you come in, but then we get the direct opposite of that. And so essentially, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and preface what I'm going to say with this, and I just got a couple points. I am all about being sensitive, but what I'm not concerned with is triggering people, because anyone can be triggered by anything at any time. So hold on, whatever, we're about to go. When you come in and you're roaring, stomping your feet, talking about your fight, what you need, what you want, and what I need to do, I got to come at you with the chair and the whip, because you're encroaching in on this space and you're being violent. And it's just, what that does is all you did was show your behind and show us that you lack respect for women.
Exactly.
You don't have boundaries with women, and you are so self-concerned and entitled that you don't understand how misogynistic you actually are.
Yes,
and
exactly. Let me do a quick survey. That last caller who called in, who said their name was Talia, ladies out there, bio women, we're gonna do a survey. If you would feel safe around that person physically, if you would feel physically safe being in close quarters with that person, one-on-one, if you would feel physically safe, right? Put up the number 7. If you would not feel physically safe and you would be concerned for your physical safety, put up the number 8. Let's see the survey. All right. So so thank you so much for calling in. Was there anything that I didn't catch that you wanted to say?
I just wanted to say that not all, but the majority of women in general, they see the plight of trans women, and we would support you. We would support you having your own space, doing what you want, but a lot of trans women do not want their own space. They want to, what they're essentially doing is erasing themselves and simultaneously erasing women. And it's like, we're not going to stand for that. And me commenting on facts, me bringing the facts and the tea is not me being transphobic. What you're doing is you're gaslighting. You're being intellectually dishonest. You're being willfully obtuse, and I'm not gonna tolerate that. So have all the seats and say less, and understand when you come with empathy, we can actually have a conversation. You're a woman, okay? I'm a woman. Let's talk about this. Don't come in trying to take something that honestly we still have our struggles. We have our own plight.
Thank you.
We're not. It's not a play of oppression Olympics. It's just like we have our fight. We have your fight. You have your space. We'll have our space. We can still be sisters. We're just not sitting at the same table every day, and that's fine.
Right. Exactly.
And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna go back in the chat now.
All right. I didn't see any person put up the number 7. So it's like when you so what ends up happening is we have these people who are physically stronger, who are bred to be 33% larger, who then say, listen, you're on the air, but give me just one moment. I'm speaking right now. I'm going to come to you in a second, okay?
Okay.
So the typical male is bred to be 33% larger, and even at the same size is 33% stronger than the average woman. So we have these people who are saying, you know what, I feel as if I'm a woman, allow me into your space. Even though I'm stronger, bigger, taller, and have more aggressive testosterone than you do, right? And then at any given time, when this person decides to act unstably, you don't know where their mind is at, and you don't know whether or not they don't respect the fact that you are smaller and weaker than them, because now they've attempted to put themselves in the same tile as you. So they're like, oh, I'm a woman, so I can F you up. Like that person right there who calls in on the line that you all are putting the 8s up about, who would feel safe around that person? Who would trust their physical safety or the safety of their loved ones around this person who is obviously unstable, who has not done the internal work, and is so deluded and delusional as to not even be self-aware enough to know that they haven't done the work to be able to even be granted a space at the table? Who would? I wouldn't trust, like if this person came looming over me and I knew at any given time that they could just lash out like that, and then what? Think that they could start trying to box me down? I don't want to speculate about whether or not you think that that person is physically violent, but when a person starts going off like that and they don't respect, a person who doesn't respect your boundaries, who disrespects you as a person, who starts talking about how other people don't want you and how you better be appreciative of what it is that they're bringing and better accept whatever in the hell it is that they're bringing. These are the classic signs of abuse. Now you mix that up with a person who naturally produces more testosterone than you and are on some unknown cocktail of hormones, and then you put them one-on-one with you, and then you wonder whether or not you feel safe. And behavior like that is not behavior that helps the more feminine, the female holding space of the species feel more comfortable. No. All right, you're on the air live. What is your name?
Hi, my name is Riri.
Hi, Riri. Welcome to the line.
Yes, I'm calling because a lot of people think I'm pretty biased with the whole subject, but my opinion is I feel like they need their own area because I'm just aggravated with the whole thing. I'm just going to go on and get it out. I'm aggravated with it because I just feel like any time that us as regular women, that produce kids and all those good things, the gay, I don't know, I guess it's trans, they have certain names they don't want us to call them, certain things they don't want us to do. We have to accept them and appreciate them, but they disregard us and disrespect us all the time. And here it is, they have to still remember, you're still a man. You have a whole penis. Even if you don't, you're still a man. And I think sometimes when they try to do a quick transition over, it's a lot of confusion that goes on. a lot of disrespect, a lot of disregard, but we're supposed to hold them to the utmost highest respect. I don't think they should be in the bathrooms with us. With me having a daughter, I would be totally upset if a man dressed like a woman came in the bathroom. I would have a heart attack. I just think they need to have an area. There needs to be a transsexual bathroom. I don't feel like we should even have to be held to call them women. You're still a man at the end of the day. If you go to jail, you're going to be described as a male. There will be no miscommunication about that. So I just think they maybe need to have their own little area, maybe in the jail, maybe for the bathroom, maybe for this, maybe for that, when it comes to stuff like that, because who would want, let's just say you went to jail. Something happened, you had an OC until you went to jail. Who would want to be a bunk roommate with a male with a wig on? It's like, are you serious?
Well, you know what? Listen, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. And the more neutral part of myself is feeling one way. But after that phone call, listen, I fear that person who called in. I found that person very frightening. And I wouldn't, so, and one of the concerns is, you have it, like if you were in prison with a person who was pre-op transgender who still had a penis, and if they don't get their hormones and they have this penis in the bunk with you, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That would be just outrageous. I mean, come on. At some point do we just put a hand up and say, okay, we're not going to do it this way? And then you have some that really get upset. Oh, and they disrespect this and this and that. But if we do it to them, it's a whole attack. It's LGBTQA, all this crazy stuff come out. It's just getting outrageous to me.
Listen, I hear you.
Pure outrageous.
I hear you, and I appreciate you taking the time to come and give your point of view. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
All right. So listen, the phone lines are open. I want to get out of here early today. I don't want all of these shows to be 3 hours. We got 11 hours worth of watching to do. You got to turn down your computer. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
This is Chantel.
Hi, Chantel. So what is the word?
Okay. I really, that last caller, I'm not lying, I was having flashbacks of abusive relationships.
You talking about Talia, the
transgender woman.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, oh my gosh, she's so aggressive. I kept saying he, because I felt like I was literally having flashbacks of verbally abusive relationships where I was being told, oh, no, nobody wants you. This is, you lucky to have me. I love you. And then you're then telling, me everything that was wrong with me. And I'm just like, are you serious? I liked the perspective of the two callers before that caller because they made sense and they were sensible. And what I thought of was when Cleo Monago, who is he said he doesn't call himself gay, he calls himself same gender loving man. When he talked about how the LGBTQ movement was more from a white perspective, and the same gender loving, was that the Black community and culture has a different perspective when it comes to these issues. A lot of times, he's like, he would talk about how, as Black people as whole, we're having to deal with, racial injustice and those types of things. And when, and I think that the first, the first person who spoke to you about that, he was alluding to that. I think she was alluding to that when she was saying that, she doesn't understand where all this came from, because at one time it was okay to have, their own space. You know what I mean? So I think that it's a lot of infiltration when it comes to that pushiness of saying that, okay, you have to accept this, you have to accept that. Now we're this, we're that. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I remember when I got my first menstruation, right before I turned 11, and I woke up. I thought I could wipe it away. I couldn't, and I found it was still going. And then I remember my mom took me to get, my feminine products, and then the next month it came back on, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is every month, And I remember a lot of the issues I had dealing with being a girl. I didn't want to be a boy, but a lot of things like the physical things of dealing with having a uterus, of dealing with, I remember being embarrassed when I was 8 and I had got breast buds and my bikini went up, and I was like, oh my gosh, and those types of experiences of just being a girl. Truly, even when I was 5, and I didn't even truly fully understand what sexism or, gender inequality or any of that was, but I was like asking God, why did you make me a girl? Because I had a feeling that it would be harder.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is the experience is different. It's just a different experience. It's different from the foundation, from the beginning. And I don't believe in discriminating against anybody for anything, but to say, hey, we need to come into your space. Well, I think you said this several times in your last few talks, as you were saying, our journeys are different, and I completely agree with that. It is different. It is different growing up being a little girl, and physically it's different, and our experiences are different, and how it affects how we view the world is different, and like I'm, a lot of the issues I had with being a little girl and growing up and being a teenage girl and being a teenage mother, affected me a lot, and I'm just getting to the point at 40 to learning to love myself, to really starting. I've been watching you for a couple years now, and it has really helped me, through my femininity and being able to respect myself and to love myself as a woman. And a lot of things that I've been through and a lot of issues I've had directly are related to being a girl. And I don't know if that's clear.
Yeah.
But, and so it's not, I don't think you're transphobic. I don't think that you're just necessarily discriminating against or being prejudiced against or anything, but I think you're being realistic and honest. My baby.
You've been having children for 25 years? How old is your oldest?
Yeah, he's 25. My son will be 25 this year.
My goodness. Girl, put that uterus to work. Now, how old is this young one here? This baby is talking. Hold on. How old is this young child? This child's talking.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you. Hold on 1 second, sweetheart. I didn't hear what you just said.
I said, how old is this baby? The baby's talking.
Oh yeah, my youngest. I have 3. I have a 25-year-old.
Oh, okay.
I have my older daughter just turned 21. And my baby, she'll be 6. I called you earlier during the quarantine. I told you she has leukemia. We had talked earlier a few months ago.
Yeah. How is she?
Yeah. She's doing good. She's on her maintenance chemo, so she's graduated to the 2 years where she's getting chemo at home, and she only has to go to the doctor once a month. So
everybody put up those hearts. Let's send some hearts out to the baby. All right. Well, I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear that. Okay. Well, you know what? I appreciate you calling in. I think that what you said is really important. And I feel everything that you're saying. The journey of growing up. Everybody's throwing up their hearts for you and your baby. The journey of becoming a woman as from a little girl is different. And yes, you're right. Loving your journey, and you know what? There's a special space that women hold in this world, especially when we've been downgraded by so many. And there's so many oppressive and abusive forces out there that attempt to discredit our womanness. So thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. God bless you, Tonya.
You too, and hugs to your baby.
Thank you.
All right. Keep us posted and let us know how everything turns out, okay? All right, so these hearts are so beautiful. All these colored hearts. How nice. How nice. So I'm sure she'll see that in the comments area. All right. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
Hello, hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's on delay.
Yeah, turn down your computer.
Yes, I just turned it off. Hi, I am Naya. I'm a woman, biological woman, and I left a comment. I was so upset that I didn't get to call in yesterday. And so I wanted to contribute to the discussion because, so my contribution is, I'm kind of nervous. But anyway, my contribution is, I think men and women, there's an elephant in the room. And I believe that men and women have a love-hate relationship.
Well, wait, they want to know where you're from. They love your accent. Where are you from?
Trinidad and New York.
Oh, we have a Trini-Yorkian.
Yes, and I have actually family from St. Kitts and Nevis too. So when I saw your old videos, I was like, oh my God.
Yes. I just made roti the other day, and it was good. I made a deep fried roti with homemade crust. I did that.
Oh, nice.
All right, but anyway, go ahead.
Yes. So I think that there's a love-hate relationship between men and women. And I think with trans women coming into the picture, they don't understand why we're not like against them, we're empathetic to them, but there is this kind of like mistrust.
Of course.
Because again, we have a love-hate relationship with men in that we love men because we want to be with them, but we're not trusting of every man we meet because we don't know if this man is trying to rape you, kill you, because of their strength. So they're probably thinking, well, why are you like kind of like on the edge with this? And I think it's because of that love-hate relationship women have with men. We don't know. You're a person, you come in the picture, you were once a man, and we don't know if you're trying to take advantage of us. Remember, we started, women started like the movement, women movement, all these things. They want separate spaces. They beg for men, their sons, to give them these spaces because they realize, hey, we like sports too. We like these things too. And so I think just to help maybe just can clear up some things with some trans women. They don't understand why we're so like, not kind of like, we want to be respected in what we are. And we have this skepticism is because, you're coming in and I don't know what your objectives are. And like men are very good at manipulation and they're very good with those types of things. And we know men manipulate women on a daily basis. And so I don't know, you're coming in. Yes, you were once a male child or whatever, and you transition. We're thinking, because women think a lot, we think a lot. What is going on here? So I didn't see that come up so much in the broadcast yesterday. So I just wanted to bring that in and see what your take is on that.
Well, I definitely think that there is a level of mistrust that exists between men and women because men have been oppressing women for thousands of years. For millennia, we've been oppressed. And then so now we have people who, and we talked about this yesterday with the whole hormone stuff. We have people who there's no scientific proof that this person is what it is that they claim that they are. Yet they want to hold this space, and in order to hold this space, they have to take a cocktail of hormones, and you don't know where anybody is on that hormonal journey, and you don't know whether they're keeping up with the hormones, whether or not they're aggressive, whether or not they're going to start out soft, and then, like, I once dated this guy, and I believe that the guy was on steroids because one day he had like this roid rage. And I had to stay the F away from him. After he roid raged out on me, I had to stay away from him because when people start taking these hormones and stuff inside their bodies, you don't really know how they're going to behave. And I think that person who called in actually did a tremendous disservice to transgender people, because it shows how you can be in a feminine space with a person that just starts raging out. And then we have an enabler in the comments who's saying that that person was not abusive, that that person was just passionate. Passion, and there's a very thin line between passion and abuse. Passion is just a pretty way of putting a thing, but you can be passionate and that passion can be used to destroy those around you. So no. Listen, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate your point of view.
One more thing I wanted to say. And, you know, for people who are probably wondering, well, you know, there are some women who are agreeing with this, so why can't you guys agree? Women betray women all the time. They betray us for centuries. They betrayed us many times, you know, with misogyny, you know, by pushing their sons who have mental illness, could possibly kill us on us. So women betray women all the time. So listen, if you know, Miss Harriet, she wants to go that way, she can go that way. I will be on this side here. Yes, I love men, but I approach men cautiously, and I don't see anything. I don't do this. I do the same for women as well. I approach women cautiously, and I will do the same for trans women as well. And that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Women, thank you. Yeah, women betray other women all the time. However, I do not physically fear another woman. Even if she's larger than I am, I don't fear other women. I do, however, physically have physical caution and fear of men. I do. And women, and even babies. If you show pictures, I was watching this documentary. If you show pictures above a baby's crib and you regulate you test the systems inside of the baby, the blood pressure and all that other stuff. When you put up the face of a man over a baby's crib, the baby has trepidation. An unknown man over the baby's crib, the baby has trepidations because we naturally come into, like, the babies who have survived, they have evolved over time to have a natural apprehension towards unknown males. So it's ingrained into us. So you put up the picture of a woman's face over a baby's crib, you don't see the palpitations. You're on the air live with Tonya.
Hello?
What's your name?
Hi, my name is, I actually want to be anonymous.
Okay,
but,
we got anonymous too.
Yeah, Tonya, I'm a huge fan. I've watched your YouTube channel for a while, and I've actually been on Twitter, and I've been seeing this trans debate happen live. There have been a lot of trans women on Twitter who have been really trying to push this narrative that Black women can face transphobia. And because we can face transphobia, that's why we have to stand for them. And they've been pushing this narrative that because they are the only ones who can understand us, they are the only ones who can speak for us. And as a person who recently cut off a majority of my family members because they spoke to me that way, I know that type of abuse. And I was seeing, you know, Black feminist people who I thought were for Black women co-sign this and just go along with this. And I was so confused. I'm like, how can you not see the game that they're playing? It's a very old trick. Like, parents do it, men do it all the time. If a man would be saying this to them, this hetero man would say this to them, they would be able to flag it as gaslighting abuse. Yes. But because I feel like Black women, some Black women, they know how they're too forgiving, they're too empathetic. They want to include everyone, and it's because they're not on that journey of self-love. They're not, you know, some people come to this earth naturally selfish, you know, and that's. Some women don't have that, so they see these trans women and they like open arms with them, so ignorant, and it's hurtful. And what really showed me, because I'm a very spiritual person, and when one of my favorite YouTubers, she did like a panel with these trans women, and I knew one of the trans women. I actually followed one of the trans women on YouTube because I liked her. She seemed cool, but to see them discuss and the gaslighting that they use, the intellectual dishonesty that they use, the arguments that didn't make sense, it was just crazy how that cis woman who sits here and can talk about how Black women need to be protected sat there and let these two trans people just run all over her.
Yeah.
And when I looked at those trans people, I saw evil. Like, I'm not saying that they're evil, but I just saw this thick darkness around them. And to be honest, I'm done with arguing with them because that lady who called the Talia or whatever, they ain't gonna ever be happy.
That was not a lady.
The number one thing that kills trans women is suicide. Suicide. And that's not going to be fixed by them being allowed in our spaces. That's not going to be fixed by them trying to erase the uterus. If you don't love yourself, and if you're trying, imagine me, like if I was a trans woman, I would embrace the fact that I was trans. Why do I want to erase the fact? Why would I want to erase that journey? And they're trying to make it seem like we don't want them to live or we have a problem with them, and that's that competition shit. It's because it's low key. Yeah. They feel like they're in competition with us with men, when like high key the men that they're trying to get, they've set up this whole entire sex slavery system where they fuck trans women and kill y'all easier than they do cis women. So I really don't get this whole competition. Like when that girl said that you don't have no man, a trans woman telling a trans women who are crying that cis men won't claim them in public and that are killing them. It was telling a cis woman, you don't have no man. If that's not the cognitive dissonance and misogyny, like she's gonna tell you you ain't got no man. A trans woman. What? And to be honest, I was a supporter of trans people. I watched Pose. I love them, but just seeing that and just hearing her say that, and I almost couldn't listen to it because that verbal abuse she used is similar to what my parents use. And if you think that after I cut off my parents, that I'm about to let some random trans go on the street speak to me that way, I can't fight you, but if that woman would have came to me like that, she would have got tased.
Yeah.
Like, she would have, and not even because on Christy's Live, a gay man came up and they said that these hormones, we don't know what's in those hormones. To be honest, the pharmaceutical industry is taking advantage of trans women because they're making all this money off of hormones.
Listen,
we don't even know what the fuck are in those hormones.
Listen, we're veering now. I appreciate you calling in. You know, we're coming down to the wire right now. We only have half an hour more. So I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for giving your point of view.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. All right, so the phone lines are open. We're going to be here for half an hour longer. There's a person in the comments named Miss Bree who says that Tonya does not want to be educated. Tonya just wants to be right. Listen, the phone lines are open. I don't allow anybody to call in and just think that they're right. I question people. I question myself. If you have questions for me, the phone lines are open just like they're open for anybody else. But don't sit down in the comment section and pretend like you're not being heard when you're not calling up to let yourself be heard. So you got one role to play. Either you play the role in the audience or you play the role on the phone. But don't try to pretend as if you don't have the opportunity for both. So you're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name?
My name is Bree.
Oh, are you the same Miss Bree who was in the audience talking about Tonya doesn't want to be educated, Tonya wants to be right? Is that you?
No, not the same Bree.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
My name in the room is T.S. Nicedoll.
Oh, okay. So you're the T space S.
No, T.S. Nicedoll. I'm not just the T.S. either.
Oh, okay. All right. So T.S. Nicedoll, you're on the air live. So please give your point of view.
Okay. I understand. Well, I'll take that back. Let's first say this. I am trying to understand your point of view of not liking us being in the room or at the table when it comes to just women who are born genetically women. But because our experiences are so close, we have to have a seat at the table so that we can be heard and get our rights too. I understand about when people are on hormones and the enraged, and that happens because
they can't get medical care to regulate their hormones. That happens because they don't take care of themselves. We can't get self-love if we have to do everything on the black market.
Well,
we can't take care of ourselves. That's the issue. The issue is that we can't do things like go to the gas station unless I am beautiful and passable.
Okay.
And the only way to
so when you listen, I want us to listen. I want us to be able to stay on point, right? So you made a statement. You said that our experiences are so similar. Explain to me what you feel are the experience that is so similar.
When I walk down the street, or when I go to the bathroom, or when I do this or I do this, the first thing people notice is I am feminine, I am attractive, I am treated like a woman. Once they know what I am, and normally the reason how they find out what I am is normally a black woman says something.
Okay, so walking down the street, people see that you're attractive. What are some of the other experiences that are so similar?
And also with the hormones and the lady, and she was talking about her buds growing. Someone who does hormones correctly goes through the same thing. I'm not talking about the uterus and the bleeding and all of that.
Okay, so a person, so let's listen. I want us to stay on point. Otherwise, this is going to be a 20-minute conversation, and we only have 25 more minutes left to the show. So you said walking down the street, people see that you're beautiful. Being a person who is on hormones and your buds begin to grow. What are the other similarities?
Well, when I go for employment, or we can start with school. I went to school. I have a 4-year degree from Virginia Commonwealth University. I am aiming to get a master's degree to be a social worker to help transgender children understand, or parents understand exactly,
the similarities.
What they're going to have to go through the past.
The similarities. You said our journeys are so similar. That's what I want to focus on. You said the walking down the street, people feel that you're beautiful. The buds growing. What are the similarities?
When I mean the similarities, I mean I'm still looked as beneath other races. A Latino woman can do certain things that a black woman can't.
So being black. Woman, hold on. Let's not filibuster. Let's stay on point because we only have very little time. So being looked at as beneath because you're black. So you said that there's so many similarities. So those are 3. What are the other similarities?
The fact that I'm just allowed to wear my natural hair. My natural hair wasn't considered beautiful before. I went through that too.
Okay, so your natural, so now just coming into your natural hair. So what else? What are the, you said that there's so many similarities. What else? I want to hear.
Okay, and then the number 1, but not even the number 1. I won't say it's the number 1, but I can say that if I want to love a black man and be in a relationship with a black man, I have to deal with his black mother and his black grandmother or his aunt saying I'm less than. Because the black women are the ones that's raising the black men who are statistically killing us.
And so you
feel
my love, I want to hear, dear, I want to hear the similarities because that is not an experience that we have common ground on. There's no the issue that you're dealing with in dating black men is a lot different than the issues that we may have dating black men. So what are the other similarities?
How is that?
Because you said that the black mother and aunt are coming to you and saying that you're less than. Why are they saying that you're less than?
They're saying I'm less than because I don't have a uterus.
All right. So how is that? So how is that? See, let's talk about the similarities. There is nobody's mother who comes to me and say I'm less than because I don't have a uterus. There's no one's mother says that.
Yeah.
So that's not.
So that's not. You know who doesn't? The government in America does it.
Listen. I want you, baby. See, I get these issues when I'm talking to men. Let's have a conversation. I don't want to be hollering. I'm tired of males talking over me. It's a very masculine trait, and I'm sick and I'm tired of this. How much longer do I have to sit up here on the show? And how much longer do I have to sit up on the show and placate people who want to talk over me in their masculine glory? Fall back. Now I have to get into my masculine to deal with you. Come on. You're on mute right now, but I'm going to unmute you. Listen, I don't want to have a conversation in the masculine. I want us to be able to have a conversation where we can both respect one another. You said that there are so many similarities, but what are these similarities when I, as a woman, have to raise up my energy into the masculine in order to be able to deal with you? What are the similarities?
You know what it actually is?
Go ahead, curse me out now. Go ahead. I love that. Get abusive, curse me out now. Please, let's do that so that we can just end this charade.
Wait. I will never curse you out. I will never put my hands on you, and I will never curse you out. I have Black sisters. I have a Black mother. That's disrespectful.
All right, then.
Who has gotten on here and been rude to you was rude.
Yeah, but you know what it's like? It's like people who are socialized as males don't understand that freaking mansplaining and talking over a woman is rude. God damn. It's like I get so many people who are socialized as males who come onto these lines and talk over me, and it's annoying, it's frustrating, and it is the antithesis of femininity. Notice that I don't get into these exchanges with bio women who come onto the line because there's just a basic level of decent respect that exists in the feminine. The feminine is cooperative, the masculine is competitive, and it's like I gotta sit up here and start screaming just to have a conversation. I'm like, please, let's stay on code. Let's stay on point. We only have 25 minutes. And you're filibustering, talking over me and going off into some other points that have nothing to do with what it is that we're talking about. What are the similarities? What are the similarities that as a grown person, your breast buds grow?
And what I said to you in the beginning is what I feel a similarity. See, you'll never be able to tell me how to be a female. I'll never be able to tell you how to be a female. Because that's and you're talking over me now.
Exactly.
That's my experience. Me speaking over you is just because that's just something in cultural that we have.
Of course.
My passion, and I do understand between abusive language and being abusive and being passionate. Because I am educated and because I'm near 40, my experience is different.
Listen, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you calling in. If you're not going to answer the question, there's no need to have you on the line. If you're not going to answer, there's no need to have you on the line. Because
you know what? And that's okay.
Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you so much for calling in. We only have, 19 more minutes left on. And people are like, Tonya is talking over the guest. You're damn right. Because I'm giving people 5 minutes to talk. And it's like, I got to get into a space where I have to talk over people. Because there's a reason why you're calling in. This is not a podium for people to just come up and start telling short stories or to just go off and say whatever. This is not what this is for. So come forward. You're on the line now with Tonya. What is your name?
Hi, my name's Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Hey. So I just want to keep it quick because I'm cisgender, queer, Black male, so I don't want to see what anybody's thought. But I just hate to see the arguing and the disagreements and all the bad energy when conversations like this take place. Because I feel like it's important for it to happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like transgender women are women. Are they female? No. That's clear as day. They might take offense to that, but that's how I feel. And I just feel like there's multiple experiences of womanhood. But me not being, a transgender woman or a biological woman, I do hate to try to say what's what, who's who. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like we came together more. It'd be a lot better.
Okay. Well, you know what? A woman, by definition, is an adult human female.
Woman, by definition.
Yeah, adult human female, that's what a woman is. A mare is an adult female equine. It's that's what the definition is. So femininity is something that can exist outside of a concrete definition, but it's if we can get on the same page, you know what I mean? And then there just seems to be sociological issues. And the thing is that people who are trans feminine, they just don't seem to get it. They don't seem to get how they were socialized as males. And it's you can see the difference clear as day on the phone. between the way that they come on, and like you said that you are a black male who's gay, right? And so we're having a conversation, you're allowing me to speak, you're speaking, you're thinking about what it is that you're saying. And so there's a lot of feminine energy that and there's nothing wrong with having feminine energy. The feminine is cooperative, and it's a beautiful thing. And I love being able to converse with people who are at a space where they can allow people to converse. So Anthony, do you feel that you've expressed everything that you need to express today?
Everything that was important, yeah. Just that I believe in like getting along and just having these conversations are important. So I do appreciate you having these conversations, even when they do get heated. I feel like it's just good to see everybody said that. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much for calling in. You know, and it's like just like the person, the Trini Yorkian who called in. It's like because of the contention that exists between men and women, you know, we have we have the trans feminine men who are calling in, and they don't understand that their masculine rearing is coming out in their aggression on the phone. What's your name?
Hi, this is Tanika from last night.
Hi, Tanika. Welcome to the line. What is your comment here today?
Okay, first I want to apologize if I may have derailed the conversation yesterday, made it a bad discussion. But what I wanted to say is, you know, when Nala went off, they went off because you disagreed in terms of the biology of the situation. And this is the problem. No one, a lot of people don't mind if they dress the way they dress, if they behave the way they dress. But again, we go back to the biological, and that is the root of it. And also, if me and women already are trying to dismiss stereotypes, why are we going back to the stereotype? What is it that I'm trying to earn from society as a woman? I think, there must be something that they're trying to earn from society as a woman to want to be spaced so bad in terms of gender. Like I said, if why can't we acknowledge there's many different genders? If they continue to say there's many different genders, why do we have to be grouped the same? But that's all I have to say, and I just want to apologize if, you know, I made the conversation bad yesterday.
There was nobody that made the conversation bad yesterday, but thank you for calling in.
Okay.
It's all, listen, it's all good. Listen, the conversation yesterday, I joked that it was a disaster, but it was an engaging show. People enjoyed the show, people learned from the show, and you know, every show is going to be different. You know what I mean? So the person who went off and started cussing us out was Talia. Nolly was actually the person who talked about the transphobia coming from transgender people who refuse to identify as transgender. So the phone lines are open. You're on the air live. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I'm a really big fan of your show and I really enjoy your content. And I also just wanted to say that it's really sad to see the erasure of biological Black women.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like no one, you know, puts any respect on the biological Black woman and what we bring to the table. And just to comment off of what I believe the transgender caller, I think it was like 2 calls ago that you had a disagreement with.
The one where I had to get in my masculine?
Yes. And I'm so sorry that it had to come to that. All I do know is this. Energies don't lie. People do. And no matter if they say that they're a woman on the outside physically, their energy will always be masculine. And like you said, you always have to get into your masculine when you're dealing with other masculine people, aka biological men. You don't deal with this with natural born biological feminine women. And everything that the person was saying, you know, not to attack that person, but just bringing up the facts, everything was physical. Everything was physical about having, you know, being considered less than because you don't have a uterus and because you're you know, your breasts are growing in, everything is physical. And the fact that, you're kind of demeaning or downplaying the feminine experience to being just a physical thing, I think it truly is an insult, because not only is, yes, part of the feminine journey is physical, but it's also a spiritual thing.
Yes.
And I don't think that can be erased.
You cannot.
I think a lot of people think that, being a feminine woman, I just have to dress pretty and look pretty and get my makeup and hair done. Okay, that's nice, but the spiritual, the energy of a woman is completely different than that of a man.
It is.
And it's really disheartening to feel as though as biological Black women, we're being erased in every facet of life. We're being erased by white women, Arab women, non-Black Hispanic women, and now, frankly, we're being erased by biological Black men. And it's really sad to see that. And the fact that you kind of have to stake your claim as a biological Black woman, it's disheartening. And I feel like this world is going upside down because of that. If you notice, every other group of people, whether it be white, Arabs, LGBT community, they always have their rights. But we as Black women are always having to fight for our rights, just to be seen, just to be heard. It's a very disheartening thing that I see.
Yes.
And that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate your phone call. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, so the phone lines are closed, and I'm just going to spend the last few moments just reading comments and debriefing the whole show, and then just going forward from there. So listen, I appreciate everyone who has called in. Everyone who's called in has participated in the conversation and the revelation in many different ways. So thank you all for having the courage to come forward and putting your voice and stamp on it. I think that there's a huge elephant in the room that many of us don't want to acknowledge. Why is it that XY chromosome males, why is it that XY chromosome persons, right, are so quick to dismiss the journey of a girl to a woman? Why are they so quick to dismiss the profundity of it, the power of it, the energy of it? Why are they so quick to feel that their imagination and their interpretation of what womanhood is identical enough to the true journey of a woman, of a womb holder, of a keeper of the womb? It's like we're the gatekeepers for all human life. We're the ones who control how evolution takes place. We're the ones who choose who comes into this earth. We're the ones who carry the human bodies inside of us, where the soul is able to then enter into the human as it passes through the canal into this realm. We're the ones who are tasked with housing that. Why is it that there are some people who feel that that doesn't matter? Why is it that people feel that in their imagination, what it is that they imagine a woman to be, that what it is that they can do is good enough to be able to be that thing, that inexplicable je ne sais quoi, that thing that exists in women, in keepers of the womb? I am a keeper of the womb. And there are many people out there who are keepers of the womb. And we get taught from very early on just how precious it is that we are keepers of the womb. And so why is it that is so easily and so quickly dismissed? And I think that needs to be addressed and to be looked at, because there are so many different spaces where we are constantly being victimized by XYers. And when I say XYers, I'm talking about people who have the XY chromosome. Women have the XX. And it's like in the heterosexual space, we are constantly being encroached upon and being victimized by heterosexual men. And then now we come into we've now entered into this space where people who are biologically male are now also entering onto the victimization and saying that you need to be okay with this because of what it is that I feel I need to enact upon you. That person who called in was abusive. Talia was abusive. Abusive language, abusive intonation, and then there was somebody inside of the crowd who said that the person didn't become abusive. Oh no, I think it was a caller said that the person didn't become abusive until I disagreed. No, there was an energy that existed, an aggression that existed. Like some of you out there, you may not know. I read energy. I am clairsentient, and I do tarot. Some of you catch me on Facebook when I'm doing tarot, or you book me on my website. I don't talk about it very much, but I'm able to read energy. And that person's energy was aggressive from the time that they came onto the phone. And some of you may not be able to be cognizant or consciously aware of that aggression because the person is not doing anything aggressive. But there are people out there who come into contact with a person. The person doesn't have to say anything, but you can already feel the energy of that person, and you already know that you two will not vibe. And then there's other people, you feel the energy and you're like, you know what, I really want to get to know this person. There are many of you out there who can also feel energy because we're all connected. And even when Nali first called up, you all were like, you know what, there were people out there who was like, yeah, you know, I know that this is going to be a profound phone call. You felt the premonition. Because even in the physical makeup of women, keepers of the womb, there's a part of the brain that is the intuitive center. It is exponentially larger than the intuitive center of males. So there are those of you who are connected. You know how they talk about women's intuition. And then when we start really diving into this, you don't have the biology, you don't have the natural hormones, you don't have the sex organs or the sex cells, you don't have the rearing. I'm gonna have to get off of this phone soon because that's my DMV appointment calling me back, and I need to take care since I'm in New York. I'm not able to do all of the things that I need to do. So listen, in person, so I have to take this call, and I know they're gonna call back again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump off of here, and we will save this conversation for another day. I appreciate all of you who have come out, and I don't think that it's lost on me that there are different behaviors, and the fact that we're having this conversation, the fact that we have to fight in this way still. And it's like people feel that they can take advantage of Black women because we're the least protected, so that they come in and try to enact their agenda on us, and then now we have to fight them too. And it's like, when will enough be enough? That Black women can then finally, it's like we don't have the rights for ourselves yet, and now you want to bring your masculinity over here and into our realm and then try to force us to fight for you too, hoping that on the back end we'll be able to get some crumbs rather than us focusing our energy on fighting for ourselves. It's like you're trying to get something from us that we don't even fully have, instead of owning and holding your own space and getting that for you. So listen, make sure that you join my mailing list, TonyaTKO.com/subscribe. You can also send me a message on the contact page and join the mailing list that way. My book is available on Amazon. The book helps reattune you for self-love. It's a booklet that has it's the most powerful affirmations I use to completely shift my life. This is available on Amazon. The link is in the description. Also in the shop area, there's a link directly to this on Amazon in there. So I'm going to try to catch this phone call. Hopefully they're going to call me back in just a few minutes. But listen, I love you all very, very much. Go out there and love one another, but most importantly, love yourself. And regardless of where it is that you are in your journey, this book right here will assist you with that in creating the shift. Because if life gives you more of what it is that you have, when you're going down, it can seem like you continue to go down, but there has to be a shift that is created to be able to help pull you up. So this book right here, available on Amazon. And I'll see you all in the next video. Make sure that you're on my mailing list so that you'll get the notification of when we go live. Peace.